quarantine with my friend in arms, Jake.
Yo.
Hi. You're my friend in arms. Did you know that?
Sweet. How many arms?
I don't know. Arms? Is that a game? That's a game.
Arms is a fun video game.
Also, Messo's here.
It's true. I am very sunburned.
And Mary.
Hey, I'm sleepy. I went to bed at 3 a.m. because I was building a Gundam.
Nice.
And DJ.
Hi, I'm here. I'm sleepy because I went to sleep at 3 a.m. watching dumb stuff on the internet.
Less.
That's not nearly as cool.
Yeah, see? Not nearly as cool. What kind of Gundam did you build, Mary? What's your Gundam
A bear
choice?
guy pretty.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
You're going to have to spell that one out for us.
I know what that is.
It's like a modified Ak guy, but they gave him a bear head and a magic wand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
All right, one of those things.
Now, was this a I don't know how you pronounce Gunpla?
Yeah, Plamo.
Plamo?
I still
What
have
rating?
I still have one that I'm like 90% done with, and it's just sitting in a box.
Is it HG?
Yeah, it was an
high
HG.
grade.
Yep, the highest
I believe the
grade.
one I have is
High grade. There's the ones that are really big that are like almost life size, human size. Those are scary. I never want
Like
to build one.
perfect grade or whatever.
I don't understand the grades. They grade
what
them
are the
on all so
grades?
many ways.
the one I have is like action figure size.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different grades. I don't master grade, which is above the high grade. There's real grade. This is just a little chart. Here's a little chart for you. I don't know. There's also perfect grade is the one that are the pinnacle of Bandai's model lineup. These kits usually stand around a foot tall for the
Damn.
crazy people. For the Austin
Hundreds of
Walkers out
dollars, too.
there. Oh yeah.
PG rating.
I never got into model making because I hate painting models.
You don't even have to paint these though.
Most of the time, unless unless you're
You can do a
crazy
marker,
and
you
want to
can
buy
draw
an
in the
airbrush.
lines and stuff.
Now,
Yeah.
is it the art or is it the fear of messing up the actual painting?
Well, that's
Because they're so small.
that's part of it too. Yeah.
So, how's everybody's week been? Aside for painting Gunpla.
Mine was pretty good.
We're doing good? Everybody had a good week?
Yeah. The nice thing about being on vacation is that you come back and you're still technically on vacation because it's only a 3-day work week or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you went to Evo Meso, right?
Yeah, so I went to Evo. It was fun. It was good. So this is the first time that I've been there since they moved it to Mandalay Bay. And like it works for that. Like Mandalay Bay Convention Center is really big and it filled everything up for Saturday finals while doing pools for Sunday finals without any problems. Like it was a good switch. The only thing I really didn't like about it that much was that the seats for grand finals, I guess they're just old or quote unquote old. So I don't fit in them. So I was literally just laid out across 3 rows because there weren't that many people in like actual attendance.
Huh, okay.
It's weird. So I guess Evo attendance this year was down across the board almost by half, which is like interesting considering last year was the biggest it's ever been. But the Smash players think that Smash doesn't get well represented there for some reason, even though it was on TV this year. And Street Fighter has had a lot of shit happen and not necessarily gotten fixed since it came out. So attendance for that was way down. It was about half at 2,700. Last year was at 5,200, I want to say. So everybody who was there was really happy to be there, but it was a much more somber experience than it usually is. It's just, which is like kind of odd, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, I got bopped pretty early because my flight landed at like 11:30 and my pool started at 12. So we had to go directly from the airport to Mandalay Bay and basically have them watch over all of our bags while I stood in line to wait and get badges, and then go to my pools and then stand around while we just waited to actually fight. Apparently, multiple people in my bracket didn't show up, so I got a double buy by default. That was cool.
Cool.
So technically, I only had to win one in order to escape pools. Unfortunately, I fought somebody who was from Korea, who was
bummer.
super good with I can't remember, like Kim Gum Khan, or the giant old man mech with the little the young woman inside who pilots him. So yeah, I got bopped super severely there. But you know, I guess that's what it is. I wish I could have gotten on stream though, but hey, it is what it is. And then Street Fighter, I did significantly better. I also got a double buy there, and would have escaped pools except for the dreaded tournament problem that all PS4s have, where if you don't unsync your controller from the machine, you're still connected to the machine. So you can be somewhere in like 100-foot radius, because the radius for PS4 controllers is surprisingly excellent, and stop a match by turning your controller on. That's what happened to me. I was up 2-0 and was basically about to land the last hit. Dude turned his controller on, and then we had to restart the system and then do it again. And at that point, he had 3 rounds on me, so he knew exactly what I was going to do. And I lost that way, and I was bummed out.
That sucks.
It
Did like
really sucks.
whoever did that? Did they get like disqualified? Or
I mean, we don't know who did it. That's the problem. They were off. They were probably off doing another game on like another station somewhere else, but they forgot to do their crap. Which is why, like, I don't know, like the underlying controller stuff for the PS4 is terrible. It's always been terrible, and Sony doesn't know how to fix it. So it's always going to be terrible. So whenever you go to a tournament for whatever game, like, there's always going to be a controller issue, because if it's a fighting game, people are going to have sticks or foot pads, and those will usually not be wireless, but there's always going to be a certain percentage of people who have just DualShock 4s who don't understand that the controller situation for the PS4 is terrible, and will just play it like they do at their house, and that ruins everything.
Fucking normies.
Is it worth a thing to like every station just has like 2 DualShock 4s there just for the console? Like,
I mean,
surely that's fine.
In theory, yes, but then think about, like, I mean, this is a little different, and granted they haven't started doing this, but like imagine the Xbox One Elite controllers. Like, if you have one of those and you want to use one of those for the tournament, you still want to use that controller, but that controller still uses the default wireless stuff, the default wireless like protocols that are in there. So normally, yes, I would say it is worth having there, but there's literally no one, especially for something like Evo, who's going to show up without their own controller, whether it's just like a normal DualShock 4 or otherwise, because that's what you're used to using.
But I think, like, I don't know if it's like your pad, but like, if you're just using a standard DualShock, I wouldn't be surprised if one on the side is totally fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, they should do that, but
it would reduce some, I would imagine.
Yeah,
not enough, but some.
It's still a big problem. It would alleviate a little bit of the problem, but it's still like, that's not like the overall cure for it. The cure is like Sony figures out a way to make that work a little better. But like, considering how much flack they've gotten about like the drivers that make PS3 sticks and PS3 peripherals work on PS4, and how they don't like supporting that, because of course they want you to buy new sticks and new stuff. But at the same time, that stuff exists. Like, they're very cagey about changing anything, whether it would be for the better, or for the betterment of the system or not. It's stupid.
Huh.
It is what it is.
Would there be a lot of resistance to just, I don't know, at Evo just having controllers? Like, I feel like I saw a lot of the pros bringing their own sticks and stuff.
Yeah, I would say probably 70% of the people there, whether you're like super good or not, bring their own controllers. It's just when it's only a problem when you don't have a wired connection, and unfortunately, like the base controller doesn't require a wired connection. So
And that's a lot of cost on the tournament
Yeah,
holders as well.
They all bought the controllers and let people. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
although I will say, for a room that had something like 150 to 200 PS4s going at once, people who were using wireless controllers didn't seem to be having any problems, which is like, I guess, a testament to Sony's Bluetooth protocol. I guess I get why they did it that way. It's just too bad that in these certain situations that it sort of gets ruined.
Yeah, that sucks. There's gotta be probably a better way to do that, but.
They should have whoever's at the console, like the officiator or whatever, when the game's over, be like, desync your fucking controller.
And they did have people being like, please remember to desync your controller or unplug it physically. But people aren't paying attention for whatever reason. They're too up in their own heads because they need to get ready to fight again, and they just scrubbily walk off and, oh, it's time to fight again. Oh, I'm on another controller. Oh, why doesn't this work? Well, and then they're spending 5 minutes on their setup, and the people that they just interrupted have to redo their match. It's a big problem. And it's a problem exclusive to Sony, like 360s. When we did Marvel tournaments, we would use 360s, and we never had this problem.
So if you plug a controller into a PS4, it syncs it with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't desync it. That's the problem.
Lame.
Yeah. It's dumb, but it is what it is. So yeah, that was cool. I played Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I guess this is the official name of that game. Fighters. That game is super good. Even though we found like 4 or 5 glitches and exploits already, like that game is super fun to play.
It looks really fun to play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even a fighting game fan. I don't like Dragon Ball Z that much either, but that game looks fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me a lot of almost. I kind of want to say it reminds me of Skullgirls, but I don't want to go that far because there isn't that much variety in the characters yet. There will be. They showed off Piccolo this past week, and he looks like he plays completely different from everybody else. But they have all the Saiyans in the build that I played, and they play pretty similarly. It's more like movement speeds and movement options that are different. But that game is super fun. It feels like Marvel 2 in a lot of ways. So if that game, Marvel 2, but with like a cast of 30, I think that'll really benefit everybody.
Here's my question.
Mhm.
There have been a lot of Dragon Ball fighting games.
Yes.
made.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this one good?
Different.
So-
And I'm
development.
not
Right.
questioning whether or not it's good, but I'm saying, why is this one seeming to stick more than any of the other ones?
Why is this one special over the other ones? So the other ones feel like they
Budokai and
spend.
Or let me rephrase this. What did the other ones not do correctly
Okay.
that
So
caused them to not catch on?
Okay, so there's a lot of the time when you make a Dragon Ball Z game, just in general, you spend way too much time trying to like perfectly replicate what it is to be in the Dragon Ball universe during a fight, which is like you need to be flying around and shooting energy balls all the time, and you know,
Going through cliffs.
yeah,
Yep.
going through cliffs, and you hit somebody, and then you teleport behind them, and then you hit them again, you teleport behind them again, and keep doing that, which causes a lot of people to make combat engines that don't necessarily work that well in one way or another. So, for example, with Budokai works really well with the flying around and the shooting of the beams, but the actual like hand-to-hand combat is kind of bad. Because basically it all boils down to like a sort of a rock, paper, scissors type thing where you're either going to block, throw, or like burst. And burst is like you hit them really hard and they fly off and you do the thing. So that's kind of a problem with all of them. With this game, it is a 2D fighting game first that they are then going back to the source material and being like, how can we pay homage to this while still keeping this as a really, really well-playing 2D fighter?
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like, did you guys play Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 1 or 2?
No,
Yeah,
not me.
a little bit of it.
I don't think I need to answer that, but no.
So that game is neat, but it is very much like that is the game that people who wanted a new Budokai, that is the game for them. Because it does. Well, go ahead.
Like the new Budokai. I mean, the old Budokai. I mean, it was a fun game, right? But it wasn't particularly deep. It was just kind of like, I don't know, throw it on and story missions you can grind through or whatever. It wasn't really. I don't know, I never felt like it took itself seriously as a fighting game, whereas I feel like this new game is much more like, we're a fighting game first. We are here to make this thing balanced and have characters that don't destroy everything. Yeah, it's better that way.
And Xenoverse is a lot like that too, but like playing that game online is kind of a bummer. Or playing that game PvP at all is kind of a bummer. But that game, when you just think of it as like a single player game where you make your own character and then you just have them grow through the Dragon Ball Z world, as a single player experience, that is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and that's sort of like what you can say about most of the Dragon Ball Z fighters. As a single player experience, it's really good, but playing them against other people almost universally sucks because the game just doesn't handle things very well, or there are so many exploits that like basically you can get people in stun locks like almost like straight out of the gate. But that being said, Fighter Z doesn't look like it's going to have that. We did find a couple of weird things, like I managed to do like a 500 hit combo on somebody by accidentally holding down a button, and it just kept bursting and zooming to hit them again over and over again. And I literally put the controller down and it kept doing it, and it would have kept doing it forever if I hadn't hit another button. So that was interesting. But even more than that, the game is just gorgeous. Like you look at the stuff that they've put out on YouTube, and it doesn't do it justice. That game in person looks absolutely like amazing. Like almost better than Zerd, and I think Zerd is probably the prettiest fighting game that's ever been put out. So it's interesting to see them using that tech for like something that everybody really reveres and do justice by it.
Yeah, like all of the effects coming off of like key blasts and stuff look just like the show, and it looks fucking fancy.
Yeah, it's really nice. The one thing I hope they do, and they probably won't because for some reason Toei hates them, but I would hope that they would try to get the Team 4-Star people to do a voice track for that game, because Funimation will sneak them in whenever they can, but Toei really does not like Team 4-Star at all, to the point where when they found out that a couple of those people were in some American versions of or American episodes of Dragon Ball Super, they made them go back and take them out and redub them, even though they're on a pretty stringent timeline. So yeah, for some reason, like Toei doesn't understand that a big reason why Dragon Ball Z is as popular as it is right now is because of Team 4-Star. But that's I guess that's a lot of Japanese ego right there, where it's like, no, it's clearly us, and Dragon Ball Z Kai was what everybody wanted. It's like, yeah, but people didn't know they wanted DBZ abridged, and also Dragon Ball Kai is kind of hard to watch too.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can do with that. Dragon Ball has a lot of room, I guess. Just don't add anything from Super, and everything's good.
Oh, there will definitely be Super stuff in it, like 100%. The question is, will there be GT stuff in it? Because technically Super erases GT. But so I played that, and I played Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Ooh, okay.
That game is actually really fun to play, but dear Lord, it is ugly as sin. Like, I don't know what they did. Like, somebody on that team doesn't know about shaders and lighting and stuff, because man, like, I'm not even like, take the models and put them off to the side because those are messed up too, but like just the way that game looks on a just during a regular bout, the lighting looks terrible, the shadows are all over the place. The new stage looks nice, but like, I don't it's just such a bummer that it looks as bad as it does, and I don't understand why it looks that way, because it's like it feels like an art direction decision to make it look actually bad, and I don't get it. But
I mean, they could always patch in like lighting later on, like they did with King of Fighters, I guess. But yeah, it does look ugly, and it does look like it's on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, I would really hope that they don't look at the King of Fighters problem and say, well, they fixed it, because they didn't fix it. They made it better. But King
They
of Fighters
tried.
14 is still not a great looking game either. It's this weird thing where, I don't know, like using 3D models to make a really good looking fighting game is tough. Like there are a lot of people that don't like, or that absolutely hate how Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 look, even though they like the animation for Street Fighter 5 is like amazing work. It's really well done, but they don't like the chunky builds, and they don't like how Ryu is like basically Super Muscle Man, when in the past he looked sort of like a normal anime shoujo or a shonen hero. So you have that, but then I don't know, man. They showed off Gamora and
Thanos?
Yeah, and Thanos and Nemesis and Frank West. Gamora, I don't know. Like, how does anybody actually care about Guardians of the Galaxy, like outside of the movies?
Nah,
Not
No.
really.
I haven't even seen the movies. So
Because I do. I read those comics. And like I have big problems with what the movies did to those characters, because basically those characters, everybody except Rocket Raccoon, they completely redid their backstories like entirely.
Oh.
And like Drax and Gamora's personalities are reversed in the movies. So when you take that character and you put them into something that's franchised, and you get like even more creative like dissuasion from everything else, now you have Gamora, who is like this weird, super skinny, like oddly sexy, almost Japanese looking character with shit on her face. And it's like, that doesn't look like Gamora
Gross.
at all.
We'll
It's
just put She-Hulk in it again or something.
I wish. No, there's no way She-Hulk's going to be in it. Like my entire Marvel team is, except for Morrigan, is gone. They're not coming back. It bums me out. But yeah, I mean, that game is fun to play. That game feels a lot more like Tatsunoko versus Capcom than any of the previous Marvel games, which is a good thing because that game was excellent. But there's no way they're going to be able to get the Tatsunoko license again, and they have the Marvel license, so it makes sense that they would take that combat engine and rework it for modern consoles and have something that's not only easy to put out, but something that can get people who don't necessarily play a lot of fighting games into it, because that game is very much easier to play than any of the other ones have been, even more so than Marvel 3, which was also already like super dumbed down for people who don't really play a lot of fighting games, which is interesting because eventually we're going to get back to the point where everything is just Rising Thunder, and it's weird that game still is gone, but it is what it is.
Tatsunoko Capcom, that really was just a Wii game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Did that
it
actually
was-
go to arcades at least?
Yeah, so it's on arcades. That game apparently has a very strong arcade following in Japan. Like when I went to Japan, that was in literally every cabinet there. And I guess so we have around one near us that is in one of our fighting cabinets as well. So somebody really likes that game. But yeah, so I played that, and I played EX, which I guess is what they're gonna call that game. I don't know. It's the new Eureka Fighter, where it takes all of the Street Fighter EX characters that are not beholden to Capcom and puts them into a new fighting game. That game looks good. The sound design is really shit, but that game is also super early, so I bet they'll get that together. It's weird. It looks like they're almost trying to do a 3D Blaze Blue.
Okay.
With like the art design feels very anime, but anime in like an ArcSys Works almost, but like almost like they were making a ArcSys Works game, but then couldn't get the tech down, so they said, "Fuck it, let's just make it in Unreal and just see what it looks like." And it sort of does. The characters have nice designs, but they don't look like animate super well. I don't know. It's not as bad as like Injustice or Mortal Kombat 10, but it's awkward. Especially like now that we're getting back to like Japanese-made 3D fighting games, like there's a lot of differences that I'm not used to seeing. But I don't know. I think that game could be cool. It's weird that they still don't have a title for it, and they're just calling it EX. But it's cool. Skullomania's in that game. We
yeah,
got
Skullmania.
Like that game, they've been floating around like a demo of it since like before the 3DS came out. So it's weird. Maybe that's why like the animation is kind of funky, even though it's kind of modern at the same time. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. It's just weird, and they will probably clean it up a lot. So yeah. And
Fighting games are back in a big way.
Yeah,
A lot of fighting games now.
Yeah, I mean, they announced a bunch at Evo. So there's that crossover game that Arxis Works is making.
Blaze Blue Cross something.
They need a better name for that too, because they're I don't know why they're marketing it as a Blaze Blue game, even though Blaze Blue's in it. There is just as much other stuff in there other than Blaze Blue, and it's not like the Blaze Blue name outside of Japan is that strong. In fact, it's almost, you could put Persona 5 Arena and Friends and probably get more people outside of Japan. Probably more people in Japan at that point as well.
Well, I mean, it's not like they can call it Under Night in Birth crossover or something, because nobody knows that fucking game.
Hey, that didn't stop them before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the big news for that game is that Ruby is going to be in that game, which is interesting because that show continues to defy the odds and continues to be the American anime that everybody wanted to make as a kid but couldn't. But now, rest in peace, Monty Ohm, that thing continues to be a juggernaut.
All you have to do is steal models off of Miku Miku Dance in the Bleach Ruby game.
Sure. It's funny, like, people don't recognize or realize how many Ruby games there are out there. There's like maybe 5 or 6, and they're all shit. Like, they're all completely terrible.
Just like the anime. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
A couple, but wow. That's RWBY
Yeah.
Yes.
for people who are gonna search up Ruby.
Yeah. I guess that show's alright. I have some friends that like that show a lot, but I don't know. I've never really spent a lot of time with it.
I heard the music on the radio every once in a while.
Isn't that-
It's alright music.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, it was
Call 'em
Rooster
out.
Teeth Rooster Teeth in a more pure day.
Also, it was like not Rooster. It was. I mean, it
Yeah.
was Rooster Teeth, but it was people inside. No, it's not.
Yeah,
Rooster
it-
Teeth's
Yeah.
such a massive like conglomerate of
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah, it was Monty
Okay,
Ohm's
fair enough.
baby. But he died, unfortunately, I think 2 years ago. But yeah, like, I thought him dying was going to be the end of that entire, like, property, but apparently it continues to thrive. That show is getting a manga in Japan, which is weird, but I guess they love it, so okay, sure, why not? Although
If a property started in the United States and gets an anime in Japan, does it make it anime then? Is that
No. It has to be animated over there. Yeah. Like, they have a dub of it over there with Japanese voice actors and stuff too, but I also watched that Castlevania Netflix thing dubbed in Japanese too, so I don't know, whatever, everything's crazy. There's like a Sherlock Holmes like manga and supernatural manga and all this other shit.
That's true.
So-
People, Supernatural also continues to defy the odds by not getting canceled after fucking 15 years or something like that. But, yeah. So, yes. So Evo was good. Those games were good. Oh, I met Xavier Woods. That was cool.
that's cool?
Yeah. He was there he looked very tired, so I did not want to bug him too much. But he was doing interviews all day. I played one game with Windjams with him and then left him alone. And so that was day 1, and day 2 we thought about going there, but we wanted to go to a beach club first, and there was a beach club across the street from where Evo was, so we went there, and then proceeded to get horribly drunk. So we never actually made it back to Evo.
What
I'll tell you what.
constitutes horribly drunk? What's
So let's put it this way, it was 106 degrees outside.
okay?
We were in a pool with maybe 100 other people, and we kept ourselves hydrated with 32-ounce cups filled with Long Island iced teas.
Oh
Boy,
fuck.
So yeah, we were on it.
Damn.
But I'll tell you. So, all right. One, if you ever go to Vegas, go to a beach club. It'll probably be a day beach club because for whatever reason we could not get into any of the night beach clubs because Wiz Khalifa was playing at the place we wanted to go, so entrance was like $95, and we're like, that's way too much. We're gonna keep moving. And I felt bad because everybody that I met from Evo that I told where the thing was, it's like, no, go to Dre's. Wiz Khalifa's there tonight, thinking that we would still be able to get in. Like, nope. So we just sent everybody over there, and probably they did the same thing we did, where it's like, that's outrageous. Shout outs to Horace, a KOF 14 player, who let me borrow his locker when the locker machine broke, because that was almost a big problem, because the bouncers did not want to let us in unless we could get a locker and put all of our stuff up. So he saved the day on that one. So after that, yeah, we went to the day club, which is called Daylight, and then we went back to the hotel room. We played a few friendly matches, and then we went to Dre's, which would not let us in. Then we went to XS, which would not let us in. Then we went to the Win, which would not let us in. Then we went to the Encore, and we went to Paradise in the Encore, and they would let us in, but the cover charge was $75, and we could not figure out why. But we were so annoyed at getting bounced from every place that we were, so we just paid it and we went in.
Fuck.
And we hung out. It was cool. It was a night beach party before we were looking for, and it was actually a pretty big place that did not sell any VIP areas, and we should have like coerced the bouncer into giving us one because it looks really bad when all the VIP areas are empty. But I did not think of that until we already left. We found out why it was $45 or $75 to get in. It was because Marshmallow was playing. Does anybody know who Marshmallow is?
Fucking Marshmallow. I know of Marshmallow.
Yeah. So it was the first time I'd ever heard of Marshmallow. So I was thinking, I didn't know if he was going to go on or what, because we got there at like, I don't know, maybe 10 at night. We were just hanging out there for a few hours. The drinks there were $55. That's outrageous. Like, I was actually very upset with that. So it was very hard to get drunk there. So we just sort of got to the point where we were hanging out in a pool, waiting for something to happen. And then at midnight or 12:30 or something, Marshmallow goes on stage. And I'm like, this isn't very good. Maybe we should leave. So we left after maybe half an hour of that.
Okay, so I just Googled this guy, and is like a budget dead mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has like a helmet that's sort of like a dead mouse helmet.
It's a bin on his head.
So literally, they had buckets with the Marshmallow logo on it, and people were putting the buckets over their heads and being stupid. And I'm like, that's the exact same thing. I don't understand how this is different, but whatever. So we did that. Then we went back to the hotel room. Let me give shout outs to Papaya King. Papaya King is a hot dog / alcohol stand that's around Vegas. It saved the night because we got fish bowls there for $6.
I thought Papaya King was gonna be like a person, like a person's username or something.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Papaya is like Papaya King.
They're a
works
hot
lot of
dog.
different-
I was like, what?
Yeah. So you can get $4 loaded hot dogs, and you can get $6 fish bowls full of alcohol. So that works out.
Goddamn.
I've heard about these people. Yeah, all right. They were out in New York City at some point. I remember.
Yeah. I think they started in New York City and then they went across the country. But there were a bunch of them in Vegas, and they saved the day every time. And then we went to Grand Finals. Grand Finals was cool. Again, the stadium is really small but large, but they didn't fill it nearly as much as they wanted to. I'll tell you right now, being there live is very strange when you know that they are doing stuff for like commercial breaks and tape delay, because they would do the big announcements where it's like, and here comes Punk or here comes Taquito. Then they have them come down the aisle with all the cameras focused on them, but they would announce their name, but they wouldn't come out for like 1 minute until after they announced the name, so they could have a clean audio sample for that. And that's just really strange when you're in the thing being like, did he get cold feet? Where is he? I lost track of him. What? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so that happened. Evo Grand Finals were on Disney and ESPN. Apparently, this was the first time somebody yelled "fuck yes" on the Disney Channel.
Perfect.
So
Great.
Yeah, sensors be damned. Can't get around it. And it was a good finals though. Tekken 7 was probably the most exciting final. I know people keep trying to say Punk versus Takedo was the most exciting, but I don't think it was. Like that went about as well as I thought it would. I love like Punk is great. He's a really nice guy. He's really good at Street Fighter, but he has no long game. Like if you make him play a first to 10, once he gets to the fourth or fifth match, you can pretty much tell what he's going to do. And Takedo used that and blew him up. Like I think he won 6 straight in order to like win the entire tournament.
CM Punk.
No. Like
No.
so the guy in grand finals.
He's got no long game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, actually, yes. You were both right. Yeah, CM Punk and Punk both have no long game.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, they announced a bunch of stuff. Did you guys talk about this stuff they announced?
No,
Some of it.
Grand finals.
Some of it. Not a lot of it.
They announced Abigail for Street Fighter 5, and they fucked up because they showed the wrong trailer for Abigail apparently, which I'm like, that is the most Capcom thing you could possibly do. So Abigail is this gigantic, like, giant class character, sort of like Hugo from Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 3. But in his V-trigger, he grows even bigger. So I guess the entire trailer they showed there was him in his biggest form, which makes him like clip through the life bars and stuff like that. And people were like, I don't understand how this is going to work. And the good news was, well, it's fine because it doesn't work. That's not how it actually works. And of course, they announced Geese Howard for Tekken 7. So Tekken 7 is now the game of evil dads.
Yep.
I never thought I would hear 6,000 people in unison yell out Geese in the middle of a stadium arena, but they did, and that was kind of awesome. I was caught by surprise because I thought they were going to announce the hero from Yakuza, because apparently that's something that Japan has been clamoring for, to have him in Tekken 7, since we're never getting another Virtua Fighter again.
That would be cool.
Guy, Dragon of Dojima?
Yeah, the Dragon of Dojima, yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be alright.
I'm spacing on his name, but yeah, they wanted him.
Kiryu.
Yeah,
Kiryu.
Kazuma Kiryu, yes.
Also the other guy too, because why not?
Yeah, Majima.
Sure.
When it started, I thought they were about to announce Majima, and I was losing my mind. And it's like, oh, that's not. It's Geese. I mean, Geese is still great, but it's not Majima. I would take Majima over Geese 9 times out of 10.
He can have some cool moves with his stabby electric knife and shit.
Yeah, totally. Like, he's a movement-based character, and that's what Tekken needs, more movement-based characters, because a lot of the best characters are just big, heavy hitters that don't move very much, or they hit you a lot in a very small space. So, yeah, it would be cool if they did something like that, but...
Is Tekken becoming like the guest, is like a late night show or something like that, where a bunch of characters from different
New Soul
games
Calibur.
Well, I think they realize that they are in a bad position when it comes to other fighting games. So, like them and Dead or Alive realize they might not have what it takes to stand on their own 2 feet. So they get guest characters coming. Like Dead or Alive had all the Virtua Fighter characters, or not all, but a lot of the Virtua Fighter characters.
And Mai too, right?
Mm-hmm. And eventually, yeah, like the DLC situation with Dead or Alive is insane because there's something like 120 pieces of downloadable content for that game, and the season pass. I think it has 6 season passes. Each one is $100 because there's so much stuff. So they have been making their money off of the post game. Like that game still does very well, but it's because it's selling. Like they have Attack on Titan themed stuff and Fate Stay Night themed stuff. Like that's how they're making their money, not necessarily through that. They're the whales are just buying all of this DLC, and there's a ton of it. So that, and people look at that and say that makes money. That's the business model we want to emulate. But then Capcom can't actually make things fast enough to do that. And Tekken is in this weird side pocket where they could do that, but they don't because they want to still have a robust single player mode. So all the Tekken battle stuff and the weird Tekken Bowl that's coming out later, it gives you the coins that you need to unlock character customization. so they could just sell that stuff, but they're opting not to. And they're hoping that like the DLC of characters and stuff like that will keep that thing rolling for a little while longer. Because Tekken is in a weird position where it's been in testing for like 2 or 3 years, but never really officially released. And this year is the first time it's been officially released. But everybody's already sort of seen a lot of Tekken 7, so they have to keep people like enthused about it.
Which I think they're doing pretty well. I mean, I feel like coming out of EVO, I was more enthused about Tekken than I was about Street Fighter.
Yeah, in a big way. Yeah, I think Tekken has a good chance of really taking over the scene if they keep the heat going. The Street Fighter, there are a lot of people that aren't pleased with Abigail, and like it took a lot of convincing people that Ed was going to be a good character. He turned out to be one, but like they're not making a lot of the decisions that would keep a lot of casual fans interested in continuing to play it. And it's funny. It's like when you spend half a week playing Street Fighter V in person with people who are really good, you forget that the online has a bunch of problems. And then I got home and started playing a little bit, and it's like, oh right, this is why I stopped playing this game for 6 months. Like the online is really rough sometimes, and there's no signs that they're gonna fix it. And it's like, I should just switch to another game. What's the next fighting game that's coming out? It's Marvel. Oh, that might be terrible too. When does Dragon Ball come out? But yeah, so EVO was cool.
Healthy, I would say healthy for the fighting game community. Things look positive, even though like Marvel is, I don't know, still kind of looking like funky.
Yeah, I would say
like
next
there's
year.
a lot more Denver.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there absolutely is. I would say like next year will be a lot more interesting because we'll have a lot of new fighting games that are just like brand new on the scene, but we'll still have a lot of fanfare behind them. Like Dragon Ball will bring people to the table, whether it's hard to play or not because it's Dragon Ball.
Right.
Marvel might that game is doing bad decisions. Like Black Panther is going to be a DLC character in a time where he has a movie coming out like the same day, I think, as Dragon Ball Z comes out. So it's like, why is he just not in the roster? That makes no sense. But I feel that is a very Capcom move. They've already announced 12 DLC characters for Marvel, so we'll see. But then I would assume that Smash for the Switch will get announced. I would assume, because like if there's one thing that the grand finals for Smash 4 at EVO showed, it's that Bayonetta is too good and is potentially broken, and that whole game needs to be patched, but it never will be because the Wii U is dead. So it would be real strange if Nintendo did not have a presence at EVO, especially after Smash 4 and Smash Melee has had such like a commanding presence for the past few years. It would be bizarre if they don't have something ready for that. But I guess ARMS is going to be at EVO Japan, so that's a thing.
It is Nintendo. I mean, they have ARMS and Pokken Tournament coming out, so they got to sell those fighting games first.
I'll tell you right now, no one gives a fuck about Pokken Tournament.
Yeah.
Like, Pokken,
Really?
when I went to Japan, Pokken was on its way out. Like, the only people playing that in arcades were like couples that were just having a good fun date time. Like, even with the DLC that they're putting in, no one gives a fuck about that game. Like,
Any space for it at EVO, like any at all.
yeah,
Probably not. Like
it would just be such a wet fart if it was at EVO. I don't think it'll be there at all.
Or like your EVO, because I assume besides like the streams, there's loads of like side rooms and stuff with older games. Like I assume people arenas there and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ultimax was there on the side. I saw a bunch of people doing Street Fighter 2 tournaments, just like regular Street Fighter 2 tournaments.
Sure.
It's funny. So I was in the Salty Suite on the last day, and everybody came up to me and was like, I want to do a money match against you. And it's like, I have none of my gear, and I'm super tired. I am not doing any money matches today. Absolutely not.
Like,
but it was weird. They had like 7 or 8 setups in this nightclub, and it was free that night, but they couldn't enforce the dress code because there were like 100 sweaty nerds in there who had just been in a big hall watching video games all day. So you have like this weird mix of clientele of like these super hot women in really skimpy clothes, like really short dresses, amongst all these dudes in jorts and sweaty t-shirts, like literally sweat-stained t-shirts hanging around. And it's like, this is the weirdest dichotomy. This is like high school all over again.
That's perfect.
But it was cool. They had Killer Queen up there. That game continues to be really strange. And for the first time, I think I understand how to play it now. But I don't think it's a game that I ever want to play ever again. It's like all the frustration of Overwatch with none of the payoff.
Yeah, like we actually have 2 arcade cabinets of it set up like at my local arcade, and I never see anybody playing it ever. And like the last time I was there with like a whole party of people, I was like, "Come on, you guys, let's try it, let's play it," and nobody wanted to do it. So I don't know.
It's very confusing to play, and explaining it takes like 10 minutes, and it's not worth the payout.
Yeah, I tried, but nope.
Yeah. But that was Evo pretty much in a nutshell. I had a great time. It's still just, even if you don't play fighting games like religiously, it's still super fun to go. Grand Finals is kind of awesome. It's just having that stuff be in a very professional setting means that it doesn't feel like you are encroaching on anything like sacred. It feels like you're just going to a sporting event, and that's kind of awesome. I kind of want to see the Disney footage of the Smash stuff because I want to just see what the commentary was like. Because there's 2 different commentators. Like there's the in-house commentators and there's the over-the-air commentators. And when you're watching it live, you can't hear what they're saying on TV. But they had L.I. Joe and Yipes commentating for Street Fighter V. But I don't think Yipes actually knows a ton about Street Fighter V. So it wasn't really insightful commentary. It was more just get everybody as hype as possible.
So wait, where was Ultra Chen?
I think Ultra Chen was on the Disney stream with Seth Killian.
Huh.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't watched it. But yeah, it was cool. It was a really fun time. And we're thinking about going back next year. I'm just not sure what the situation is going to be like because I might try to go to Japan next year. But it's definitely worth thinking about going. It is a very, very fun convention style event. And you just play video games all week. It's kind of awesome. Like the game room this year was huge. They had DDR and all sorts of games that weren't fighting games, and a bunch of stuff that you never thought you'd see there. Like second stream had so the Sfida guys were there, which is that Tetris, like that battle Tetris game that got like not sued but like a cease and desist from the Tetris company where they couldn't use Tetrominoes anymore. That game was there, and that game has come around. That game is good again.
Great.
So yeah, that's about it. I got horribly sunburned because when you go into a pool, it just washes all the sunscreen that you put on off. And that's not good.
Yeah, the most sunburn I've ever had was when I went to a water park. It's terrible. It's horrible. So much pain.
One more thing. We went to Topgolf. If you've ever been to or if there's a Topgolf near you, you need to go to Topgolf. Topgolf is like crazy, like cool. It's like a nightclub built in a driving range with a pool that has a swim-up bar in it, and it's like
what?
Yeah.
So it is cool.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So we went in. It's like we went in the morning, or we went in the afternoon. So it was like $45 for all of us to get in, which is fine. They served us beer. We played so they broke the machine. So instead of getting an hour, we got a day worth of playing. So we played for like 3 hours. We're all terrible at golf. So we just tried to hit the balls as hard as we could.
Is it one of the big multi-level ones?
Yeah. So we were on the 3rd floor, which is as high as it goes. And then we decided we were done with that. We went over to the pool. We jumped in the pool. And as we jumped into the pool, a sandstorm started.
Nice.
And that's something I wasn't prepared for.
Like, Yeah.
Because yes, that was the joke we made. But yeah, so we had to get out of the pool and we just drank 7 and 7s for a few hours waiting for it to pass, and it didn't pass, so we left. But yeah, if there's a Top Golf in your area, you need to go to Top Golf. It's awesome. Like, it's super fun and it's super cool.
What is 7 and 7s?
7 and 7 is 7 Up at Seagrams.
Oh, Seagrams. Okay.
But yeah, it was awesome. It was super cool. I want them to build one near me now because I would be there probably more than I should. But yeah, it was cool.
It looks really cool, but the trailer on their website makes it look so doofy. It just looks like the most annoying place to be.
So we did try to go there like after Evo day 1. We walked over and it seemed like it was kind of a bro haven.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we were like, we'll come back later. And for whatever, it was like $75 for a group to get in at that point. It was like, we'll come back later. So we came back 4 days later, and then it was $45 to get in. It's like, all right, we'll try that. And it was mostly empty. And when it was mostly empty, it was kind of great. So maybe don't go on a Saturday night. Maybe go on like a Monday or Tuesday morning, something like that. But yeah, I had a huge amount of fun there. Like, it was way cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a
My little
fun
brother
time.
loves the one in Houston, but he's pretty much a bro. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's worth going to, like, just to try it out and bring a swimsuit, because their pool was like awesome. I just jumped in and swam to the bar, and they started serving me drinks, and I was like, "This is great. I never want to leave." And then the sand started. It's like, we need to leave. I don't want to get sandblasted on top of sunburnt.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was my time in Evo. I'm making a video of the whole thing, which should be done as soon as I can actually have enough time to put personal stuff into the render queue. So maybe next week sometime.
Cool. Well, let's certainly look forward to that. So Splatoon, eh? Huh?
Yep. So I
Other
bought a
video
Switch today.
This is a mobile
What?
transmission.
I bought a Switch today.
You must
Join.
I think
defend
you bought the other
lanes
day.
and defend a number of locations.
I bought it on Friday and then it came today.
Right.
Yeah, I went out, I bought Splatoon, and Splatoon feels like more Splatoon, which is a good thing because Splatoon is always really good. So I've only played the single player stuff thus far because I've had it for maybe like an hour. But that game feels good. The first thing I did was turn the motion controls all the way up because I don't understand how people play that game. Like, with the defaults, like, I need more direct control than that. But yeah, it's more Splatoon, and that's a good thing, and I really like it.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's kind of my end result as well, is if you didn't like Splatoon before, do not buy this. This is a complete waste of your time, because it's just a more refined, cleaner looking, and better overall package of Splatoon.
Right. That being said, if you don't like Splatoon, there's something wrong with it, because that game is brilliant. It still does dumb things, like the maps rotate once an hour, which is better than once every 2 hours, like it used to be. But still, it's not. One, if they're going to do rotation, they need to have more maps available, and two, don't do that. Just let people choose the maps, or do it at random or something, but don't do this rotation stuff. It's nobody likes it. It's bad.
Dropping it to an hour is better, but I would have liked a third map in that rotation,
Right.
not just the two. Still seems stale.
Continue to defend.
There's still room under the 2 for a third, because when they do Splatfests, they'll have 3, and it makes no sense.
Right.
They make it 3 all the time.
Yeah.
Are they still doing?
Yeah.
I mean, for a Splatoon 2, yes. For a Splatoon 1, it's over. And the last Splatfest they had was Marie or Callie, and that worked into the story for Splatoon 2, I think.
Oh, that explains it. Huh. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
They already announced the new Splatfest question. I don't know when it is, but it's like ketchup or mayo.
That must be the
Ketchup.
Europe one, because we don't put
I think
we don't
that's-
put mayo on things here.
I think that's the US as well.
That's definitely gonna be ketchup, because like, what do we put mayo on?
find out
I
what's
don't know. Branwolf and Sarah are both Mayo supporters,
What?
so who the hell knows?
Disgusting.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I don't understand. Well, Brand's from the UK, so like
Yeah. He's still a monster.
fair enough.
Like,
Yeah.
just tomato and onion. That's the only thing. Or BLT is the only thing you put mayo on. Like, what else? I don't even know. Come on.
Like spicy mayo on just like some things, but that doesn't even taste like mayo. It tastes like sriracha at that point.
But yeah,
Aioli is not mayo. I don't.
that's totally mayo.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Does that count?
Deviled eggs has mayo.
Yeah.
That's about it. For me.
I guess that does have mayo. Although I'd never have deviled eggs. So.
So most of these, I checked in, most of these news articles are citing Europe, but considering Europe and America's ones are so similar the whole time, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same. I also wouldn't be surprised if they change mayo to mustard.
Yeah,
Or
that. I can see that.
let's call it
Oh.
mustard.
Yep.
Mustard
Mustard.
all the way.
But other than that, from what I played of it, it's still good. I guess we're gonna do Squid Squads later. Now
Squid
that
Squad?
that's-
Yeah.
So you played more than I have, Optics. Have you tried the Nintendo app?
Yeah, so I've got 2 sections on my little segments in the
Okay.
document.
How terrible is it?
It's a shit show of an app. It's pretty bad. It's kind of slow. It's got a bunch of like nonsense. Well, dumb like Nintendo of course issues of like, hey, it takes a while to like get your group together. You have to like match up with people in the Splatoon game, and then like the lobby is on your phone, so then you get to log in. You can't do it on your phone. You can't just like invite them on your phone.
That's super weird.
Yep. If you're in the voice chat business and you're like actually doing it on your phone, if your screen goes off or if you go into like a paused section, audio just mutes, so you have to turn your phone back on to hear people again.
Ridiculous.
Lots of like dumb, stupid stuff like that. It crashes a lot. I've heard, but like the Nintendo app itself is a mess right now. I'm hoping they patch it and actually fix it for later games and stuff. But the Splatoon side of it, because this is the weird thing. It's like Splatnet is inside the Nintendo app, and I can only imagine future games will have their own like tile,
Yeah.
like Pokken tournament net or something like that, which will have another like instance of something opening up and going, here's your stats, here's all these things.
That I can believe. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Inside the actual Splatnet thing, it's actually okay. It's got lots of like stats on you, your win-loss, how you're doing with all the guns and stuff. It also has, which I only realized today thanks to Tuka and Noku, if you open up Splatnet, you get exclusive items to buy, not stuff in the store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they already have like 3 or 4 ability classed items, so you should order them because they're like in stock for X amount of hours. So if you order them, I assume they'll be there. And then here's another dumb thing: you have to buy the actual item in game. It's not just already bought.
Wait,
What?
so you can order it and then you have to buy it?
Yeah, so you order the item on the Splatnet thing. It says,
Uh-huh.
hey, ordered. We'll ship it over to the person in the store. So I bought some shoes. Went to the shoe guy, got super lost, and was like, wait, where the fuck are these? I had to look it up, and someone told me at the end, oh, it's the guy on the right of the lobby. He has the orders, not like the stores. So you have to talk to that guy, and then he goes, yo, I've got your order, pay me, and then he gives you the item. But it's like it's dumb because it already is linked to your Switch and your character, but it just doesn't put it in your inventory immediately, like stuff like that.
Oh, is that the sea urchin dude, like from the
Yeah.
first game? Okay, because you could do that with like players in your lobby and order stuff off of them. That's weird that it works the same way.
Is
Yeah.
there that kind of hub worldy kind of thing in the first game?
Mhm.
Like from what I've saw, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 continues to be really good. I'm playing a ton of it. I'll probably play a bunch more.
So let me ask: if you didn't want to use the chat thing, can you still like group up in game and then like everybody be in a room or a queue, and then you can just use Discord or something else other than that?
Yes, yeah. So you can do like we haven't actually tried it yet because we're doing. So there's two ways to do it. Well, three, I guess. There's local play, which you go into the right on the arcade. And then you get like local connections. There's in the lobby like a friends tab, and then it lists all your friends and if they're joinable or not. And then you just join their like lobby that they're currently playing in, and you just jump in immediately. But it doesn't always pair you with them, so it's kind of still randomized teams. So that's what we've been doing the most, just because it's easy and we don't have to deal with anything problematic. And then I think one below the friends tab is like create private session, which we haven't actually done yet. I think you can create those and then join the lobby together, but I don't know if you'll stick with the team business. But yeah, you can then just go to Discord or something. I personally recommend you download a voice app that everyone else uses and use that instead of Nintendo apps thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Have you tried League mode yet?
No, I don't think I ever will. So this is another thing. I think I read somewhere you have to get a X amount of ranking in ranked battle to open up League battle, which is weird. But I don't know if I'll even do ranked games. I'm in it for the casual fun of Splatoon, not the super try-hard, angry business.
I like the ranked stuff in Splatoon 1 because it was like pretty easy going for a while. Like I remember getting up to like A+ and things being still like pretty light and airy. It's just like I think you can only do certain mode types, right? In that, otherwise it's all just turf war.
Yeah, and it's like in specific modes. Like there's a like King of the Hill kind of like zone control where you have to control the zone for 100 seconds or something, and there's another one where like a tower progresses through the map, and you have to like control the tower as it progresses up and down certain maps. But yeah, the maps are really cool. They've taken quite a few from the first game, and they're probably going to start adding more and add them to it. I will say I heard someone on YouTube in like a review while he was still under NDA on something say like there's one gun that everyone's gonna go to because it's just kind of OP. You kind of unlock it at like level 8. I'm pretty sure it's the Aerospray MG because it's nightmarishly good.
Yeah, that was the gun that everybody was using in the original Splatoon as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got enough like range and rate of fire and like overall coverage where you can just spray and cover an area so much quicker than everything else, as well as like its medium to close range accuracy is like superbly good. So you can like run over fools with that. It's a really good gun.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna get back to the point where the Japanese players are just like taking the sniper rifles and just running circles around the other players.
I hope not.
Splatoon got like crazy in the last in its final few like active months. Like people figure that game out.
Yeah. I heard that was just like a thing that you just, if you weren't good and kept up with it, you were gonna die immediately.
The reason I'm playing right now, like I'm playing Splatoon 1 and I'm dying because of fucking shitty lag, so I need to dig out a USB LAN adapter from the closet because, wow, it sucks.
Yep, absolutely. But in fact, I should unplug the one that I have plugged into my Wii U and plug it into my Switch before I start playing online.
Huh.
It's not been terrible online, actually. Like, I've been linking up with people on people from the US and stuff, and it's been really smooth. It hasn't had like troubles or delay. I haven't had complaints of like, I definitely killed that guy. Why did he kill me suddenly? I haven't had any jumping about or anything like that. It's really smooth, the online gameplay of it.
Yeah, I feel like with Splatoon back in the day, it was either it's working flawlessly or it doesn't work at all. There's no in between. Or if there is in between, it's like they're doing some voodoo magic on the back end where you're not seeing it.
Next week I'll probably have a report on how it fares single player wise on the bus. My instant hot take is not good at all because of those motion controls.
Oh, sure, yeah. Totally.
Monsters, motion controls. What?
That's
It's
how you
super
play
good.
Splatoon.
Yeah, man. Like after
No.
playing Splatoon 1, I wanted motion controls in every shooter that I ever played. It
What?
feels so good.
It really is superb, the motion controls in Splatoon.
You're
You guys
Why?
are crazy. Yeah.
This is unconscionable.
It just feels so good. Like I think at the time it was going from Splatoon 1 to Titanfall 1, and going back to Titanfall was so difficult because like I just missed being able to to fine tune my aim just by slightly moving my hands and getting those headshots every time. Oh, it is sublime. Splatoon continues to be the argument for motion controls and shooters because it's so good.
Yeah, their ability to mimic movements and accuracy with it is insane. I don't know how they did it so well, but they did.
Huh. I just can't believe that you guys like motion controls in a shooter so much.
I mean, granted, they're doing it like perfect. They're doing it correctly. Like I remember playing Killzone something Shadow
Sure,
Force something. Yeah, I don't know. That has motion controls in it, but they're bad. Like they're not. You can't fine tune the sensitivity for them because it's just 6-axis, and 6-axis isn't that accurate. So, but like whatever they have in the Wii U or these Splatoon, in these Switch controllers, it works super well and it feels really, really good.
I also like the dedicated button to sort of realign or recenter yourself if it does ever get a little wonky or you change position and the gyro freaks out.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was based off where you're looking. And once I figured that out, it's like, oh, this feels great. So now I can just like jump down, shoot some ink, and then go into squid mode, like go into the ink, turn turn left, pop up, hit Y to recenter where I'm looking, and then have that be your new focus, and then just put down more ink and basically just really quickly slosh through the ground, resetting your camera to where you're looking every time, and that feels like super precise.
Yeah, like saying that, I have one big gripe about people in a Splatoon game. At the start, can you fucking rush to the center, middle, please, and fight everyone else?
Yeah,
because I constantly get like teammates who are like, I have to paint every second surface at the start.
There's a lot of people, for whatever reason, who think that not killing people is like still okay for this game because it's not the direct focus, and it's like, no, the way you win is you deny them the ability to paint more area by killing them, and then once they're dead, you can fill in the areas behind you.
Yes.
Once if you die, then you can start painting as you're moving back up.
Yeah, exactly. You take a different route that's not painted. Yeah, that's my optimal strategy.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I was talking with some people on NeoGAF about Splatoon strategies, and they're like, no, you definitely want to paint more. It's like, no, that's not it at all. You definitely need to be killing people. That is how you win. But,
like, I'll only accept that from like a roller person if they're like sort of near the back, still trying to clean up stuff.
But even then, like, the roller is quite good if you can sneak behind, and that still means you need to be part of the conversation.
Roller's really good. I like still to this day, my favorite move is sneaking up behind someone, ideally another roller person, rolling over whatever they're rolling, and then when they drop to get ink, you just fucking roll over them.
It's the best.
And then they then they think of all the regret of like, how long have they been following me shit?
Because you can't see behind you that well, so it works out super well. Yeah.
Yes.
Super good. We need to try the Salmon Row mode. Their horde mode.
Another great Nintendo thing, that's a timed thing, so like it's opened up every so often. I think the Nintendo app will tell you when it's open, but like, fucking come on Nintendo, why isn't that 24/7?
I think they tie too much of the what do you call it? The infrastructure, like the financial infrastructure of the in-game currency to timed stuff, because I get it. It sounds like the payout that you get for doing those things is huge. So if they were open 24/7, you could just game it and probably get like all the clothes in the game within like a week or two. But at the same time, timed restrictions off of an entire mode is dumb.
Yeah. So I think you can do that local play anytime you want if you go into that arcade, but that's local play, and
nobody does local play.
I mean, find me a household that has 2 Switches in it.
Right.
I mean,
find the merchandise store which has 2 Switches in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to Target today to pick up Splatoon. They have no Switches. They have not had Switches for months, and they do not know when they're going to get Switches.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. They have the games. They don't have the Switches.
I should have probably bought a Switch then, shouldn't I? And resell it on the black market. I saw a bunch of them. I should have just started reselling them all.
I mean, right now, like the average price people are buying them at is $400, which is $100 over the MSRP, because you can't get them.
That's expensive.
Can't find them. I was at my local. I don't know if I've said this before, but I was at my local GameStop equivalent game over here.
The game, yeah.
I was kind of just looking at the pre-owned section, trying to find really cheap 360 games to add to the collection. Some guy walks in and is like, "Do you guys have any Switches?" And I was like, "Yeah, we've got one more." And then he just proceeded to list like, "Okay, give me extra Joy-Cons, give me Zelda, give me Mario Kart, give me all these other things." And it was like £500 or $200 just because he found one.
Like, I won't lie. Like, I was looking at that Splatoon Pro controller, and almost bought it, but that thing is $75, and I'm like, no way. Like, it's too much for that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of peripherals for this thing already.
The real problem is like Joy-Cons are out of stock. That's the really weird killer thing. Like, I can't find paired Joy-Cons. Amazon.co.uk has like a 2-month wait time for more Joy-Cons.
Yeah, they're saying that like the red and blue ones might be like actually discontinued. Because the yellow ones are coming out soon. Yeah. And if they fix that problem with that people were having at launch, with the desyncing or whatever, like that's super weird, but I guess that would explain why you can't buy them anywhere. It's just strange. I don't know. Like, for as fashionista as Nintendo got with the 3DS in Japan, with the backplates and stuff like that, I was expecting there to be a lot more color stuff by now, but not so much.
Really weird colors.
Yeah. Atomic yellow.
Never heard somebody describe Nintendo as a fashionista, but that totally makes sense.
Well, the problem is, we never got the fashionista stuff. Like, the backplate stuff in Japan was a big fucking deal.
Huh, I didn't know that.
I've delivered another life support.
And now they're discontinuing them.
Yep.
So, Optics, my friend, DJ, you spoke of a terrible game before we started this. You spoke of a nightmare that is fresh.
I wanted to bring this out of nowhere on you guys. And might have a little inkling. It's also relevant that tonight there is a wrestling pay-per-view.
Is there really? What
is
the fuck?
it?
Wait, really?
What?
It's also the Punjabi prison match one.
Yeah, Punjabi prison match.
Oh my god. Just when you
totally
think
forgot about
WWE is
that.
starting to be good about race relations, the Punjabi prison.
There's also
Oops.
also a flag match with Rusev and John Cena again.
What? No.
Again?
No. They did that already. They did that 3 times.
They're gonna keep doing it because
Forever.
reasons. I don't know.
Because Russia and the
Forever.
United States are back in the news again. We gotta
It's
have.
like the Call of Duty World War II of wrestling.
Yeah.
And speaking of terrible games, I played WWE Tap Mania for
Why?
your local phone
Thanks,
because it's a
Sega.
new Sega.
Oh God, really?
So Tap Mania is a tapping game. So it's already up there for me. And you have to sort of tap enemy wrestlers and like fight them until they get to 0, and then you get monies to get more cards, and you have like 5 other wrestlers as like your stable to help you out and kill these big wrestler dudes, and then you sort of get up the levels, you get more gold to get better cards, and then you sort of add perks to each of the characters to like, hey, that Showboat Sheamus now does more damage over time, or he has higher health, and then you tap your way up to higher levels. And they've already started events for this. I've done 2 events already. One was a battleground event for some weird reason, and they're kind of just sort of the events are just there to help you try and get more cards. It's a really bad game, guys.
Yeah, it sounds like they took a tap game, put cards in it with wrestlers, and that seems like the worst game you can make on a phone. It's the very worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad because you can kind of get to the grinding stages really, really quickly. The other section is like the cards for the wrestlers. You don't like just get the cards once you get a pack. You get shards of a card, and it's not even like half of the shards. It's like, oh, you've earned 5 shards out of 100 for fucking Enzo Amore, and that can take like a couple weeks to try and get an actual card out of the shard business. And then furthermore, each card has like a star rating from like 1 to 5. So you kind of want the better star rating for more damage that they do. So and you need the shards to level up the card from 2 to 3 to 4 and whatnot. So like I'm already hitting the grinding stage immediately, and it's just a nightmare game.
It sounds a lot like the Crazy Taxi one that they put out, where you had to like collect licenses to power up like your drivers, and they were basically cards too. And yeah,
There's what else was there? There's like this game. I've never seen more adverts trying to be forced upon you than this game. So every time you open up a card pack, it's like, hey, you got this card. Do you want a second card? How about
that's
you watch this
exactly
ad?
like the Crazy Taxi game. Yep.
When you turn off the app and then turn it on again, it's like, hey, these wrestlers made this much money for you. How about you double that? Watch this advert. There's a Jericho, like Jeritron thing that like triples your money. But if you watch an ad, you can triple it.
Yep.
And the stuff like that's fine for me when I'm at home, because like I'm not gonna look at my phone while the ad goes. I'm just gonna get the money and like not care about that shit.
It's funny. One of the things in Vegas that we were looking at were all the themed slot machines. So like there's a Big Bang Theory themed one.
What?
Don't wanna go down
Old
that
people
one.
love that shit.
They really do. Like they can be playing that and not know what it's for, but it's got all the sound bites from the thing. So whatever. And it just I look at that and I look at the parallel of like this game that you're describing, and I feel like we're getting to a point where they are going to be like dangerously similar, where basically you're just pumping money into this thing for the sake of pumping money into this thing for the sake of it being a property, and you not actually really caring about what you get out of it. Oh, excuse me.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why I got this game, because it's a WWE property made by Sega, and I wanted to see what kind of shit show it was.
Yeah. Remember when
So they
Sega
got
made
me.
WrestleMania for the arcade? That game was really good. It was like 6
That
players.
game's actually a game.
Yeah. You can
So-
play figure in it.
Sega still makes games. They're just Total War themed games now. Just
Oh.
lots of
That
fighting
isn't
armies.
really Sega. It's Sega published.
Yeah, it's Creative Assembly. I feel like Creative Assembly makes all of their games now. Creative Assembly presents Yakuza 7.
Yeah, all right. No.
So I just turned on the game to get some more info out of it.
Uh-huh.
My current stablemate of wrestlers is Big E, Xavier Woods. No, Kofi
Sure.
Kingston, not Xavier
Sure.
Woods.
Oh,
Kane and Becky Lynch.
that's weird. Wait, what?
And I just got the cards that I dropped, and Becky Lynch is actually a really good card in this game, so she's gonna be there. It also randomizes names and stuff whenever you sort of get into the game, as well as the like signature move, because they all have signature moves. So my signature move is Legacy Eraser, and I shit you not, the name it randomized me was Beefy Black.
Perfect. Perfect.
You can prestige in this game after you hit 100 levels, so that's a thing you can do, which you have to do regularly. I've prestige like 12 times already. You can buy packs of like a single pack of a card is £24. You can buy gold up to £100 worth of gold for like not that much gold. 15,000 gold is not that much gold. That's like 6 cards at most. Like, yeah, it's definitely a whale money sink, as you kind of mentioned, Mezzo.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's for as little of a game that's actually there, it's kind of amazing that they're able to sell as much as possible. Like, I know that people get like swept up in the clicker craze, but like, I don't. It's just so strange that they reached this kind of success just through merchandising.
Right. Oh, and by all means, this is a really shit clicker game. This is all terrible.
Which should tell you something. If you're making a bad game and it's a shitty clicker game, you've already like not even met bare minimum of.
It's an ad delivery service, basically.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, you play anything else? Optics, sir?
So two things.
Okay.
On the PS4 essentially. So remember I wanted to do the whole Madden thing and sim it now that the Browns are the best in the world.
All right.
So
Tell me what's going on.
kind of a PSA. If you ever play Madden 17, don't ever make an online franchise or anything online, because my PlayStation Plus ran out, and you need that for a single player offline mode.
Wait, really?
I made it online. Yeah, so you can. There's an option to make it online and to make it offline or whatever. I chose the online variant because I thought it would do something. It does absolutely nothing to your franchise, in all honesty.
I was just gonna ask if that like updated rosters or something like that. No,
it didn't even have like the draft class of this year or anything. So and now it's basically locked me out. So the Browns will forever be the greatest in the world, I guess, and never be traded to Oregon or whatever.
Huh. Weird.
That's a shame.
It's
That
really
seems
annoying.
Really shitty. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to like spend 2 hours like getting good data on that and see how it would fuck everything up. But yeah, so that's kind of annoying, and that's just a PSA. Don't like choose anything online for an EA game because it will lock you out. And also I was at like a barbecue thingy with some of my friends, and they had bought that Crash Bandicoot Insane Edition, the like HD remaster.
The remake, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty good. They're kind of playing it in order, so we were just playing the first game, Crash Bandicoot 1. It looks really nice. It actually, if you Crash, it's pretty good. It's got the same sort of like jumping and everything. One thing that was apparent though is like they remodeled his textures and everything, so jumps just kind of are a bit weird. They're kind of slippery. Like his feet, like they tried describing it to me, like his feet are just more rounded, which means like the box where he actually lands is like smaller. It's really weird, but it just means like the platforming is a lot harder in that game. So we spent like a good 2 hours just trying to get through one stupid bridge level, which is like in the clouds and is kind of like blind jumps essentially. Yeah, that was sucked a bunch. But yeah,
I know a lot of people that are playing that game are like saying very, very bluntly, it does not play like the old Crash games.
right. And
That
I
might be
think
a good thing in some ways, because I remember the old Crash games, even though they're quite beloved in some ways, just not being especially great playing games in some ways. Certain sections, particularly, not being amazing.
I never liked Crash Bandicoot, so yeah.
I like it a lot. I like Crash. So hearing this was like £30 though, or like almost a full price game, I may hold off for a sale, but I will get this at some point because I do like those Crash games. And
Yeah, I was thinking about getting it too. It looks really good. Looks like a good remake.
Yeah, like there was a big thing about the Crash Bandicoot thing earlier this week, like people blaming Unity or whatever for like the collision model being pill-shaped instead of like rectangular, and that's why he slips off of objects and stuff now. So
yeah,
so people crapping on Unity. Yeah.
It deserved. Fuck Unity. I said it.
I don't know.
I said it.
I
Unreal
don't know
forever.
enough about. I don't know enough about programming to really shit on it all that much.
Nor does Thouden.
Unreal forever, man.
Shut up, dude.
Tell you about blueprints.
Yeah, the copy paste fucking flowchart shit.
Yeah,
Come on.
It's really good. I don't know what you're talking about. Construction script works amazingly. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't get to.
I do. I make games.
Unity requires you to write actual code.
Yeah, and so does Unreal in certain extent, but Blueprint just makes it easier. You don't have to go around all the code stuff. You can just do simple things quickly in Blueprint by Unreal. Sponsored of the Baghdad.com. Use the promo code Blueprints for Blueprints. No?
that same code. And I'll just quickly finish it off with someone mentioned in a chat a couple days ago that they fixed their sort of wallpaper system with like some application on Steam called Wallpaper Engine, and by God, it's like the best thing that I've ever bought off Steam, because it's super cheap. B, it actually forced me to replace the Windows default screen that I was looking at for like the last year or so. And C, it actually works really, really well. So the thing with Wallpaper Engine is not only does it have like active wallpaper playlists where you can like queue up a shit ton of pictures or whatever that you want, you can also queue up a bunch of videos that you have, and they just play as your wallpaper, kind of solidly. They don't like judder around. They have nice solid 30 frames or so running. You can optionally mute them as well. And then furthermore, you can also like link it to websites as well. So if you have a stream or something going, or you can link it to a YouTube or something and just have that running as your background as well and loop it essentially. So what I have done is I've started a thing where I've created a playlist of K-pop. So every day I will get a new K-pop music video.
You're the worst.
Add it to the playlist. I am now looking at Mamamoo's Yes I Am running in the background.
Yes, you are the worst.
It's nice and flashy, and it's now the greatest desktop I have ever seen.
You know you can just open a browser and then just full screen that, right?
But then all my like application and stuff on my desktop will be covered, and then how will I work properly?
I would say if you're watching J-pop videos, or K-pop videos, excuse me, you're probably not working properly anyway.
I'm a little distracted. The latest one I added was BTS. I think it's gonna change. Let's hold on. What's on the playlist? Oh, now Red Velvet is playing.
My
No.
God.
Yep.
Well, thanks for opening this fresh new hell. It's good. Good. No.
I thoroughly suggest you all do what I'm doing right now and enjoy this new great life that I am living.
Did you really pay $3 or $4 for a thing just so you can
Yeah.
watch videos as your desktop
Of course I
background?
did.
Of course. I mean,
That's
Okay.
the only thing I can see. Like, okay, yeah, cool, I guess, but that's like the only real feature I can see.
Me
Pretty cheap
living on
price.
my desktop for $4. Oh my
Ooh.
god.
It's the best thing I have bought on Steam in the last year.
wow.
I'm calling it.
I doubt that.
What else have you bought on Steam in the last
Yeah, I
year
don't even know.
that you
Yeah.
want to throw shade at with this? Like what? I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think it's $4. It's not like you're spending $20 on it. You could probably get it from just selling Steam cards. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted the background, it looks fine. It looks cool. But
Hey, what if you linked it to a rain GIF and then your desktop was all chill rain stuff, or linked it to the chill hop 24/7 stream on YouTube, and then had that as your desktop forever, instead of using a window for it on Chrome, like some pleb.
Because that stream goes down from time to time and the URL is not the same when it comes back.
You find another one.
keep
I don't have to,
just
I don't have
keep
to keep
syncing them out.
fucking with that.
What if you just kept fucking with that? Wouldn't it be worth it? $4 just for nightmares?
Get Display
you could-
Fusion. Display
you
Fusion
could just-
is worth every dollar.
What if you downloaded the K-pop videos forever?
Oh, I see.
What if they never stop?
Oh, you have a problem? We need to like get you some counseling or something like that. We need to get you into rehab for K-pop, my friend. I'm just gonna be honest. You're doing too
There's
much
no such
K-pop.
thing.
Unhealthy. You're gonna burn your eyes out with that stuff.
I mean, we're gonna find you one day booking a ticket to Seoul during some K-pop festival,
Yeah.
and you're just never gonna come back.
There's one that's regularly held on my birthday in Seoul. It's actually one of the biggest ones, Dream Concert. I've toyed with the idea of doing that once. Because sure. One actual good benefit of this as well is it has sort of multi-screen capabilities. So one screen can do one thing while the other screen can totally do a different thing. So if you want it to just have a still image on the left screen, you totally can do that if you want. And it has like separate playlist capabilities, or it can just mirror image it and all that sort of stuff. I think this tool is pretty cool.
Oh, game of the year. So
Yeah, exactly.
This is your game of the year. Great. All right.
At least application of the year. Hey, it changed to 365 Fresh by Triple H. Not
That's
the-
a
not the
band.
wrestler.
Sure.
Does he have the sledgehammer?
What about his
no,
hair? Is this post haircut Triple H?
no, this is another K-pop girl. It's a hybrid band. It's a girl and boy band.
That doesn't make sense. Are they dating?
There's
That doesn't make sense.
I think in the music video, there's a ménage à trois. Is that how you say it? That the three
Sure.
of them are getting it on.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a 4, isn't it? No. Not-
No, it's 3.
Trois is 3.
So it's porn.
Yes.
K-pop
I mean,
basically.
all K-pop is pretty porny.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, there you go. Use that thing and just put porn in your background.
we
It's
had
fine.
we had Industrial Lights and Magic come in and teach these girls how to work the pole.
Great. All right, we're moving on. Jake, tell me about Wildlands.
I don't know why I'm still playing that game.
I don't know why you're still playing that game.
Did you finish it?
No, I'm not
Uh.
even like halfway through that yet.
What?
What?
But you hate it now?
No, I just don't know why I keep playing it. Like I kind of enjoy it because like getting any kind of items, you have to go through and fight a whole bunch of dudes, and if they find you or whatever, it's super hard to get out of fights in that game because they just keep calling in reinforcements, and you're kind of fucked if you like alert them at all. So it's kind of like a puzzle. Like each one of these bases is like a puzzle. It's like, how can I take all these guys out and then get my thing and leave?
I mean, isn't it just like go to your UAV or your drone and then have your AI dudes just keep shooting them in the head over and over again?
Yes.
I mean, that's what
you got to be strategic about it though, because that's got a 30-second cooldown, and if the other guys see one of them go down, then the jig is up.
Yeah.
I feel like stealth isn't what I want out of that game. Is that wrong? Like, I kind of want to just be Just Cause, drive around, do all these missions,
yeah.
rather than stealthiness.
Yeah, like for an open world game, it does not have enough like open world janky fun. Like it's weird.
It's got a lot of that.
So I started playing Watch Dogs 2 again, and that game I hate playing multiplayer. But I feel like if you had a squad of people doing those missions, it would be more cohesive to what people actually want out of Wildlands.
Yeah.
Where it's like more drop in, start. It feels more like the Burnout Paradise methodology of multiplayer, where it's just like you don't have to worry about it too much. It's not super serious. And it's sort of the antithesis of what Wildlands is trying to do in it being like very, very rigid about doing things correctly with 4 people.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's me, but from all the trailers and stuff, I wanted to be like, let's get in this car and then just drive it into this base. Just get into tons of fights. You're saying it's not that, Jake? It's like
that's a good way to die really fast.
Yeah.
Like people want it to be more what was that game? Mercenaries. What this is.
I mean, not to say that Wildlands is a bad game. I think it's probably fine, but
I think with as much like dude bro douchey marketing as they had, people were expecting more like over the top shit instead of being ultra tactical, even if that's what Ghost Recon always was.
So you're not even halfway, Jake? Jeez.
No.
Playing this weeks? Jeez.
And I'm playing it by myself too. Like my friend that I was initially playing with hasn't played since. So I just been booting it up and just driving around, getting guns and stuff.
Yeah. It's always hard if somebody backs out in the middle of that kind of game. Like, nope.
I paid $40 for this. I better play it.
Yeah, that or so. Oh, you're playing on a PC, right?
Yeah.
Well.
Well, I mean, are you enjoying it at all still, or is it more like I just want to be done with this game?
It's not completely terrible. Like I kind of want to play more right now.
Okay. Well, that's hey. If you want to play more, even after all this, that's all right. That's good.
I can only play in like a few hours at a time though.
Oh yeah, I bet. That seems like a game that would get pretty boring after about like 3 hours.
Yep, that's about right.
Huh, well, keep us informed on your progress. I want to see what you think of it when you beat that game at some point.
It's just gonna be, I know what the ending is gonna be, and then there's one person who's gonna probably double cross me, that I called like from the start.
Is it the big guy with the howitzer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Alright. You play anything else, Jake?
I played about an hour of Shadow Warrior, the newest one, remake or whatever.
The one that was free on Humble Bumbles? A Bumble store?
Yeah.
Alright.
And I totally did not just play an hour of that today, so I had more to talk about than just Wildlands.
Okay.
I totally didn't do that.
I totally believe you.
That's what I did.
If you play an hour though, you probably liked it at least, right?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I thought it was gonna be stupid, but it's all right.
The melee good? Like seems
No.
kind. Oh, okay.
Like you just kind of spam your sword attack. At least in the first hour of the game, that's all it really is.
Okay. All right.
But I got all the DLC. Like I got like a pixelated sword. Like it's a Hotline Miami sword.
All right.
Or I can get like a bat, or the dildo bat from Saints Row.
Nice. Why haven't you got that already?
I had one of those before.
Oh, wait, in real life.
Real life.
Yeah, in real
Yeah,
life.
they sent them out as like marketing,
Yeah.
like promo material. Yeah,
I gave it to
free,
a friend
right?
who does. I gave it to a friend who does burlesque shows.
That makes sense.
Hey,
Sounds useful.
All right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I gotta move on from that one, but.
So apparently, Shadow Warrior 2 is the thing, the place to be in the Shadow Warrior series.
In the remake series or the
Yeah, in the remake series, because I guess Shadow Warrior, like the Shadow Warrior remake, is pretty good. But it's like for Shadow Warrior 2, they did a bunch of new stuff revolving around online multiplayer, where it's like almost like a class-based game now. So it seems like that's where that series is going to thrive, if anything.
I seem to remember them, saying it kind of like Borderlands now or something like that, right?
Yeah, like Borderlands with ninjas.
Life support incoming.
Borderlands with
that's
ninjas.
Borderlands have ninjas?
Yeah.
There was that ninja
second
man.
one does.
second one does.
Right. Yeah, there was that Genji-looking man, right?
Zero or whatever.
Zero. Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh, Zero is a name for a character. Good. Anyway, yeah.
What am I fighting for?
Shadow looks really good. I picked it up on the Humble Free thing. I gotta try it at some point.
Another life
Does
Yeah,
it have
it's-
multiplayer?
capsule is now
It
available.
is a damn good looking game.
I don't think the
Character
first.
models are kind of eh.
Yeah, it's like what? Mark Hamill's the demon, right? Am I right?
Yeah,
right now,
I
right?
think so. I think that's why I like him so much. I was just gonna say I really like the demon.
When you are ready,
I couldn't put my finger on why.
the raid is off to a successful start.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that seems really cool. It looks interesting. I don't think I ever played the first Shadow Warrior game. Shadow Warrior. Yeah.
It's pretty. I have a piece of art from that game on my wall that does not look like it's from anything. It's just pretty.
Yeah. It looks pretty.
Yeah, the first level in that game is super vibrant. Like you pull up to this monastery, I guess you could call it. There's like cherry blossoms everywhere, and there's like lots of bright colors and shit. It's really cool looking.
Shadow Warrior, the game where the main character was like talked a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
He talks a lot, and it's vaguely racist. Although they toned that down a lot for the remake.
Okay.
Like it was very, very for the original. anyway, it was
Stereotype
very-
humor.
Yeah.
Don't
Like
forget the
this guy has a really thick Asian accent, and he doesn't use R's ever.
And his name is Lo Wang.
Yeah.
Ah,
Like that should tell you
Get it?
everything.
Get it? Do you get it? Lo Wang, do you get it?
get it.
I got it.
see. Ah.
It's because he has a big penis.
It's really low to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I see. 80s. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you're enjoying that. I'll have to try.
I'm probably gonna pick that back up after.
Keep us informed, sir.
I didn't even know they made a sequel to that, to the remake.
Yeah. So
Totally forgot.
I guess it's good, but I haven't ever since the release trailer. I haven't really seen or heard anything from it.
I mean, I mean, it's got good reviews to Steam at least, but I kind of don't remember it. I remember watching some videos on it when it first came out, and people were saying it's good, but now it's faded into the ether. You play anything else, Jake?
I played about 30 minutes more of Snake Path while I was waiting for Shadow Warrior to download.
Great.
Is that game still good?
Yeah. That game's still pretty good. It's got the think last time we talked about it, we mentioned it's got this weird like Banjo-Kazooie feel to it, and it totally does. But it's great though. I really like it. It's like a Banjo-Kazooie game, but like not an official Banjo-Kazooie game, but not on the nose as Ukulele.
Right. Okay. A spiritual successor, perhaps.
Sure, but it's not even like the same thing.
It's interesting that like now that all the dust has settled on but Ukulele and all these remakes of these old Banjo-Kazooie types, that the one that people seem to like the most out of all of those is Snake Pass, which is like basically a physics game.
Yep, and it has nothing to do with Banjo-Kazooie at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it kind of looks like it, and you collect stuff through the level, but that's about it, yeah.
It's a weird
The music's really good, the character designs, the character designs, literally the two.
It's all, that's a Grant Kirkhope, right?
Maybe. Did Grant Kirkhope do music for Snake Pass?
I think so. He definitely did music for Ukulele.
Nope, it's David Wise.
Of course it is.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I was gonna say it didn't sound like Kirkhope, but it's good still.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that fighting games is back in a big way, and then also like 3D platformers are kind of there, coming back too. It's like
We're regressing. We're moving back into the video games that made us feel good when we were kids, instead of brand new experiences. I'm still waiting for a GoldenEye remake. Somebody's gonna make that, right?
yeah.
We are regressing back into what we know.
Yeah.
What is familiar and comfortable in this
Call of
crazy
Duty,
world
World
we're
War II.
living in right now.
Everybody
That
looks
makes
at
sense
VR
that I've
and
been
it's like,
making Gundam models, sorry.
sure. Hey, yeah, we all need something to make us feel good right now. In this crazy world of ours.
And for some people, it's Noodle the snake. For others, it's Geese. I mean, whatever.
For some people, it's Trouser Snake. That's a pun. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?
You know,
But he's
that
actually
Tekken-
wearing pants though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's a pun. But it's a visual pun.
So you were announcing Tekken 7 is getting Noodle the snake.
Yeah.
Really
You
excited.
have to
for
wiggle
it.
you have to wiggle the stick left and right to get them removed.
Yep. Hey, okay, and we gotta move on. That's cool. Snake Pass still good? Does it get like complex? I don't know how deep you are into it.
I'm
but
only
does it-
like 4 or 5 worlds in.
okay.
It
Does it
gets
change
really
up
tough.
at all, or is it kind of just puzzly? Is it like anything new?
It's like get up
mechanic-wise?
here, get up here, get up here, get over to this without falling off the level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets super tough.
Okay, all right. Mary, how about you? Before we talk to you.
Okay, sure.
So Destiny, Mary.
Yeah.
In this sort of hellish, like we're all looking down the barrel of this next few months and going, oh no, we're gonna have like 70 games again being released all at once. Tell me what should I be looking forward to Destiny 2? Is it good?
I mean, I guess. It's more Destiny. If you like Destiny, this is a prettier Destiny. And they added, like, one new enemy type that I saw. Like, the Cabal has doggies that attack you that are all spiky. And they're
So,
exactly, like yeah.
Skags from
Yes.
like Borderlands.
Yes, they are exactly the same. Like, they work the same way. They look the same. You just melee them, and they're dead, basically.
Evil
Poor
doggos.
doggy.
Also, I forgot that you need PS Plus to do anything other than the story missions, so I had to go get PS Plus, and I was like, oh, cool. Because of this Japanese account thing, like, I don't have to pre-order Destiny 2 to play this beta, and I don't have to pay any money. Oops, I actually do.
Not so
Well.
much, yeah. That's how they get you.
Yep. And I mean, I'm gonna buy it just because I want a PC game to play with Gary that we can grind on, and the PC version I won't have to pay for multiplayer or anything, so that'll be nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's more Destiny. Everybody's fucking sassy and has to throw out a quip every 5 seconds now, and that's kind of irritating. It's like Borderlands even more.
That game, they decided that game needs personality instead of a story. And now we're seeing the fruits of that, where everybody's just being a sassy bitch all the time.
Yeah, it has one personality so far.
Yeah. And that's sassy.
Yep. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, I had some fun messing around with that, but because I got PS Plus again, I was able to download Until Dawn.
Oh man!
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this game.
That's a game.
Though.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been playing it like when Gary is around because I cannot play anything horror game styled like by myself whatsoever. Like when the Silent Hill games were coming out, like I shared a bedroom with my little sister, so she would always be around and I would be cool with that. But yeah, so I haven't gotten super far in it yet just because I can only play it like when he's off of work and stuff. But yeah, all of the characters are assholes, and I don't give a shit what happens to them. Especially, well, no, I care about one character. Like, Mike is the worst person ever invented, and I'm doing everything possible to make his life a misery. His short
Mike
life.
is the boyfriend?
Yeah, he's the douchey boyfriend that basically acts like an asshole to everybody. He seems very self-centered. I remember, like, people hating the Emily lady, and she's not as bad as Mike to me. I don't know
Emily's
why.
a bitch.
Yeah, but at least she's straightforward with it. Like,
She's honest with herself.
Sure.
She's a bad person, but she's honest. She's not trying to hide it.
yeah, like Mike is a little.
She can throw out some
weaselly
burns, too.
asshole. But yeah, playing that, it's interesting. I like how everyone animates in that game. But it looks kind of clunky at the same time too. Like you can see them transitioning from animation to animation, and it looks kind of weird, but it looks kind of cool at the same time too. Like it's very video gamey in a neat way.
Yeah, the best thing I can say about it is that it seems like. Did you guys ever play L.A. Noire?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit of it.
You know how that game is basically just one big tech demo for like a new facial recognition software?
Kinda,
Yeah, that never got used
Yeah.
in anything else.
Yeah, because it turns out it wasn't very good at the end of the day. Like that's what Until Dawn feels like for a lot of it, where it's like they are doing some revolutionary stuff with like face recognition, which is why they got all the celebrities to come in, and you know that they're those celebrities. But it still animates really weird sometimes. Like there's just like really unnerving things. Like who's the psychiatrist in that game? I can't remember
Peter
his name.
Stormare.
Yeah. Well, there is some times where Peter Stormare looks
yeah.
absolutely insane,
The longer you
and
fight,
it's like
Yeah.
the more
you can't tell if
successful
it's like them trying to be like cagey with like how environmental it is, or if they're actually like screwing up with the graphics.
Yeah, like a lot of the time it looks really wacky, and you can't tell if like, well, of course he's being a weirdo like a lot of the time, but it also looks weird technically sometimes too. But yeah, for some reason it doesn't ruin it. It just makes me get more into it, and I'm looking forward to playing that some more tonight. Like after we have the rest of our Hamburg steak.
Yeah, that looks
Steak
cool.
Hamburg.
Yeah, I made a curry rice with it, and it's super good. That Hamburg steak. I've also been playing Dragon Quest Heroes 2 because I spent $40 on it on the Steam sale, and I was like, oh shit, I need to actually play this game. But yeah, I'm
Sounds
glad.
like Wildlands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird though. You can tell this game was not made to come out on the computer. Like even though the first game came out on it, like I don't know if it was just like a combination of things, probably, but like I had to keep the air conditioning up because I don't know, trying to save money. So I had it up to 77. And I was also staring really intently at this computer screen, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna throw up in a second. And I was like, oh, it's because I'm like way too close at this screen and the field of view is all fucked up. And it took me a while. Like, I had to search on the internet because their field of view setting is called distance. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Distance?
View distance? Render distance?
No, yeah, like, what does that
detail?
mean? Apparently it's like camera distance, and that's what they consider it, at least. So I fixed that, and now it's fine, but
I mean, it kind of makes, sort of kind of makes sense if you think about.
Yeah, like, it kind of makes sense, but people have, like, their codified names for this shit. So yeah, like, once I fixed that,
call
it was
distance.
fine.
What the fuck is that?
Well, like that's the weird like Japanese development. This is the first time we're making anything with a computer ourselves mentality, where it feels. Remember, like this happens all the time. Like I remember when they ported Tales of Symphonia to PC, and it was all fucked up because they had no idea what they were doing. Like it was
like Dark Souls.
Well, Dark Souls, yeah, it's like Dark Souls a lot, but the Tales of Symphonia one sticks out in my mind because like they named everything incorrectly, and like they didn't understand like the XY axis things being related to what they were related to. Like I feel like when they do it in house, they're just not ready for a lot of this stuff.
And it's weird too because like Dark Souls and Tales of, those are both like Namco Bandai games. So you would think like since they're being published by the same people, they would maybe like send around a document saying like, hey, here's some good PC standards or something like that. But yeah.
If I had to guess, even though they're being published by the same people, they probably have like almost no communication in between developers under that umbrella. Because of just corporate politicking.
Yeah, but that's kind of dumb. Like,
it's very dumb, yes.
I mean, take advantage of that publisher structure in some way, please. Because I'm sick of, like, everything being somebody's first try at something when it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what the idea of development help in Japan is. Because a lot of times it feels like even nowadays, you have these big companies or these big developers putting out games on PC as if it was their first time ever making a game because they just don't have the same tools for like PS4 or Vita or whatever.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like there's much of a sharing culture when it comes to like tech stuff at all.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, just playing more of that. I mean...
So, did you play Hyrule Warriors?
Yeah, I played the first game on the PS4. It's very different, like the structure of like the basic structure is the same, but the things you're doing in-game is kind of different, even though, like, the combat's basically the same. I liked the tower defense style structure of, like, most of the missions in the first game, and in the second game, it almost reminds me more of, like, God Eater, where you're just going out and killing stuff, and it's kind of more boring. I don't know. But I'm not really that far in it. I need to play more. I've just been doing other shit instead, like getting ready to move and building Gundams and all this. Watching Pokemon Go Fest streams and shit.
Yeah, Pokemon Go Fest.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about that later.
Good God.
But yeah, that's basically it for me, besides like the standard phone game shit that I always play. That's basically the same. I also bought that like Capcom Humble Bundle, but I haven't played anything from it yet, and I totally forgot I bought it until just now when I looked up Humble Bundle, and I was like, oh shit, I bought all these Resident Evil games and stuff.
Oh, I thought it was just all the Dead Rising games.
Well, they have like Dead Rising, Resident Evil, that DMC remake thing, or whatever. So I bought all those, and I haven't fucked with them at all yet because, yeah, I've been doing other stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically it for me. I'm pretty boring this week.
I don't know. Until Dawn's pretty cool. Definitely.
That game's really good.
Yeah, Until Dawn is a lot of fun. Like, I really hope they release, like, an actual sequel. Something similar. I don't know.
I want them to take that formula and do like a sci-fi movie out of it.
Yeah,
That could
that'd be
work.
cool.
Hell, you know what would be best? I want them to get that exact same cast and then put them into a sci-fi thing and just have it be like this running gag where it's like a theater troupe, like almost like a Mario-esque thing where they're in a different scenario every time, but the horror is real.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
Aliens killing them. Sure.
Yeah. All right, I could talk about the games I played this week. Speaking of aliens and sci-fi,
Okay.
I played Maze. If you haven't heard of Maze, it was in the Humble Monthly at some point. It's the game with the living corn people. It's an adventure game where you wake up in a field and there's living corn people, and that's all I can spoil of that game pretty much. It's pretty good.
Are they on a cob?
It's weird. Yes, they are on a cob. They are living corn people on a cob, walking around.
This is like an adventure game?
Uh-huh.
What is this?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You'll collect different pieces of stuff and then put them in spots, open doors with keys kind of stuff.
Oh.
Classic adventure gamey, like, hey, there's a key over here, pick this up and then bring it over to this door and open this door. I don't know. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. There's some pretty good humor in it at different points. It's not, even though it's living corn people, it doesn't take itself very seriously. I don't know if you get, yeah, but it's, I don't know, it's fun. It's
So
a fun
I'm gonna
little.
Is it like a Pony Island type thing where the face of it is living corn people, but there's something under the surface that you have to uncover?
Yes.
Okay,
There is something under the surface that you have to uncover. Yes.
gotcha.
And it might be a Russian teddy bear. Who knows?
Yeah,
Might
like,
be.
why is Naughty Bear in this game?
That's
Whoa.
a question. That's a.
Naughty Bear needs work.
Vladdy
I
is a
guess
very
so.
special member of this game. He's a fun little bear man. I don't know. It's a short little. I mean, it only took me like, I don't think, 4 hours or something like that to beat it. Really. So it's short little game. It's worth it if it's worth your time. If you got in the Humble Bundle, it's just like, hey, just a little fun adventure game with some humor in it and corn people.
That's cool.
It's not very hard. It's quick. But I also played Gigantic.
Hey.
I was surprised by how good this game is.
I've been telling people that game is good for like a year.
I was
Nobody listens
surprised.
to me.
Yeah, I mean it's better than I think it has any right to be. Like all the trailers for it made it look terrible, but it's like, I don't know. It caught me this time. I was like, oh, it's actually plays pretty well. It's pretty fun. It's a MOBA, kind of.
It's like
Smitey, maybe a little bit like Smite. You have a
describe it as
character you
like-
run around.
it's almost like a MOBA and MAG mixed together. Not MAG. Killzone Shadowfall mixed together, because I feel like the things that you have to do in order to take over ground changes so often, like in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's not just like going up and like destroying a wall and then taking over a thing. There's a lot for you to do in that game.
Yeah, so basically the game is you spawn in, there's a bunch of capture points all over the map, and you go to a capture point, and you can build a little monster man who will protect that capture point and give buffs to your team. By doing that, they collect kind of the resource, and then once you get 100 resource, your big creature thing goes and attacks the other creature thing, and then that you just keep doing that with other teammates. I don't know. It was. I think the moment that caught me and made me so surprised was it has that kind of Battlefield element where the map will change in a clash thing, and one of the maps, I don't know which one. Forgive me, I don't know all the map names, but one of the maps, we got to this clash point, we were winning, and then all of a sudden the map flooded. Like most of the entire map just went underwater, and it was a really weird experience because it's like, this is a MOBA, but this is also a really cool moment because of how massive the change in the map is.
How gigantic.
How
Yeah.
gigantic,
Yes.
Hashtag. I don't know. It's fun. If you like that kind of like really casual game like HOTS or I guess kind of like Smite, you'd probably enjoy this. It's pretty simple. There's not a lot of characters really so far. It's a good kind of point to get in on it because you don't have to learn thousands of characters. Plus, it's got those kind of daily things, but they're in the form of card pack things. So you get a card and it says on it like, hey, you have to get 3 assists, and if you do it, your card gives you gold and money and stuff. So it gives you reasons to play different characters and stuff. So it keeps it pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's a game that figured out its aesthetic really early on, and every time it updates, it just sort of leans harder and harder into that aesthetic, and makes the whole thing look really nice. Instead of like, I look at that game and I'm like, this game knows what it wants to be. There's no identity crisis here, which is like a nice thing to see with one of these games, considering we have all these games like that MOBA that Amazon Games is making, where they keep changing the art style because they don't know what they want it to look like. It's nice to see like a game that like knows what it wants to be.
It knows what it is, right? Like I feel like so many of these games come out, whether it be Battleborn or I don't know any of the other ones, and they have ideas about being this big esports property or like getting this huge following. And gigantic because it came out before and it didn't do very well. It feels like this release, they're very humble to the fact that like any success they're gonna have now is good, and they don't have a big idea of where this thing could go. They're just kind of letting it grow very naturally. There's a great article on Eurogamer about I think the stuff they went through to get this game to where it is now, and how their first release kind of didn't go very well, and the stuff they did to kind of make it into what it is now. So I don't know, it's an inspiring little game. It's this thing that's like, hey, this is another MOBA, but it's actually a really good MOBA in a market filled with that. So if you really are looking for something like this, if you enjoy just kind of fun game, give it a try. It's worth your time, I think, and it's worth looking at because it does a lot of cool things that other big MOBAs don't do.
The reactant is working on your relic. Find
we can move on to news then. With that, you guys are okay.
that was a juggernaut. There was
News.
No song?
News.
I'm still detecting.
There you go. Look at that all factored in. That all worked out. It was Jake doing something with his keyboard, I think. And it like worked into the
That was
song
an
in a
Xbox
weird
One
way.
Percussion.
Xbox One controller.
So let's talk about this BioWare news first. I thought this was really interesting from a company perspective of like, hey, Casey Hudson is returning to BioWare as CEO. The boss man. It's the boss. General manager. He's the guy now of BioWare. I thought this was kind of a moment of like, hey, Mass Effect Andromeda is really bad, guys. We have to really right this ship.
Yeah.
We need somebody in here that can right this ship.
It does seem almost like a PR move or something. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Show the shareholders that we know what we're doing and get back the talent that we used to have. Yeah, it definitely does feel like that kind of play.
I think this is really good. I know people came out after the news launch and were like, hey, he's the guy that did Mass Effect 3, but he was also there for like every single other game they did that was really good. So he obviously knows at least something of what he's doing. And who knows? Maybe he could wreck the ship.
It's just a weird thing because Anthem is their thing, right?
Yes.
So Anthem feels like something that is completely different from anything that they've done before, and like the act of taking this person who used to work for you, did good work for you, but did good work for you by pushing these very different style of game and saying, we have him back and he's going to push this brand new thing, this thing that's unlike anything that we've ever done, further than we could ever do, doesn't seem all that genuine. It feels like this is something that's like Remember Mass Effect? Remember when Mass Effect was really good? Remember when Dragon Age was really good? We will be really good again one day with this new property that he has almost nothing to do with. It's like weird. They're not pushing him as like a leadership prop. They're pushing him up as like, hey, remember when all this stuff was good? Like that, and that's just feels weird to me.
And like the statement they put out specifically mentions, like remember when all this stuff was good, like from the earliest days of Knights of the Old Republic, blah blah blah, and
when we were making
know.
RPGs. And
well, I mean, Anthem is basically going to be an action RPG, and all of their games have pretty much been action RPGs. So, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, and it's, I don't know, whatever.
I mean, I look at it and yes, I'm sure there will be like RPG systems in it, but this feels like a big blockbuster, like fuck off,
like Destiny,
open world experience, like Halo. If you like, I look at that game and I see Halo more than I see Destiny or Warframe, something like that.
Well, I don't know. They had like the conversation stuff with like NPCs and shit.
Oh sure, yeah. And I get that it's going to be there, and I get that there's going to be like quests and that structure is going to be there. But I see that game, and I see like more big fuck off set pieces than I do like grinding for element X in order to get weapon Y.
I mean, if it's going to be a games as a service kind of game, they're going to have you grind. So far, they've just shown off like the flashiest shit possible, but it'll be that way eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's early, but regardless, it's just strange that they would sort of push him into that position when this thing looks like it's going to be like so much different from what they've done in the past.
But maybe it's like their reaction to a culture issue or something like that. Like, I wonder how much it is that the culture at BioWare has moved so far beyond, I don't know, it's moved more towards Anthem, and maybe they want to move it back towards, I don't know, some of their earlier games.
I think it's too late to move it back. Everybody wants the BioWares when the doctors were there, but they are gone forever. They don't want to come back. And they need to form a new identity that people can really get behind. And I don't think the play for that is to go back and get the guy that was there back in the past and say,
but
hey,
people don't want a new identity. They want old BioWare back. So
but they're never going to get old BioWare.
As like a PR. I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's exactly why they got this guy back again.
Yeah. I just don't know if that's the play.
And at this point, I don't know how far along Anthem is, so maybe he won't have really that much of an impact on Anthem itself. I feel like Anthem's probably pretty far along in the development process, a few years at least. So maybe they bring him in for this to say like, hey, we're going to make another Mass Effect at some point down the line, guys. This property is not, we're not putting it in the grave, and we're not putting Dragon Age in the grave forever. Yeah. We're just going to do this Anthem thing
for a little while.
Just for a little while. We recognize that those are important properties to us, so we got the guy that made those properties what they are to kind of tell you, like, hey, listen, this is all going to come back around at some point. I don't know.
Maybe. It could also maybe be just quality control, a good figurehead, as you guys were saying, a veteran.
Sure.
Yeah, like they're going to trot him out like crazy next year's E3, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's overall a positive move, at least from a company perspective. I mean, there's no downside for them. It feels like hey, it's good PR for them. It might change some culture issues if there's any kind of culture issues at BioWare, and it just kind of builds some excitement around Anthem a little bit, because people were kind of really out on BioWare after Mass Effect Andromeda. Felt like I saw people turn on BioWare as a whole much more than I've ever seen before. So maybe this is like, hey, we're still a company that can do things, guys. Please, EA,
we can hire all the old people back.
We can make it work.
We can flaunt money.
No, they need to do something, because Mass Effect's Andromeda left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
I was actually super bummed when I heard about Mass Effect Andromeda being fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Because I was like, play new Mass Effect. All right. But then I went back and I played through most of 2. So that worked out in the end. And a good chunk of 3.
And this was the guy for that game. He made the Mass Effect 2, one of the best video games ever made. You know?
Yep, easily.
He was there with you. I mean, you might underestimate his ability to change things with Bioware, but goddamn, he was there for a big one. One of the biggest video games ever made. So I never put anything past him. You could do it if you wanted to, make some kind of crazy new Mass Effect at some point.
Fuck, Mass Effect 2 is such a good game.
I know, man.
God damn, it's such a good game.
It's one of the best video games ever made. Like, think about it. I mean, that's such a crazy thing to say in some ways, because you'd look at newer games and go, oh, that's not as good as Mario 64. But man, Mass Effect 2 was one of the best games. It's like it improved every part of Mass Effect 1. It just made an excellent story around it. Alright, we'll move on. So let's talk about Pokemon Go Fest. We're here. We all know what we wanted to come here and talk about.
Okay, before we get into this, can we just real quick talk about Wolf Among Us Season 2?
Yeah, Wolf Among Us Season 2. Yeah.
I should finish Wolf Among Us Season 1.
I need to play that game also. Did Telltale Bundle have that game in it yet?
What?
Wolf Among Us Season 2? Season 1? Yeah. Does it have that yet? No.
It might.
I think it does. It
Probably will. It says there's more games coming in one day, so that's probably Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, I would imagine
I
so.
gotta play that game. I gotta play that game.
Like, I liked it. I got to the 3rd chapter and then stopped playing it because I didn't get it. I got it when it was still new, and I was like, yeah, I'll get all this. Wrong, I never do. I was enjoying it. Things didn't go the way that I thought they would go, but yeah. That's a good source material. I thought the comic it was based off of ended though.
It kind of did. Like the big main story ended, but apparently they kept doing like spin-offs and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like Fables is like still a thing.
Oh, is it? Okay, because I thought Fables ended.
I'm pretty sure like the universe of Fables is ongoing still.
Okay.
I believe the comic is still going, yes. I believe that is correct. The universe is still alive, as it were.
It thrives.
But man, waiting years for that.
Sure. Yeah. People love that game. I've never played it, but people
That's the
love
only
that
one
game.
of those. Okay, Tales from the Borderlands is pretty good too. I need to go back and finish the first season of that. But
You didn't like Walking Dead?
no, it didn't grab me. I don't know. I played the first episode and I was like, eh.
Well, okay, sure. Yeah. It does take a little while for it to get going, but
I was grabbed like instantly by the Wolf Among Us because I never heard of Fables.
sure.
Mhm.
And I had heard, I was like, wait a second, this is a fucking awesome premise. And then I was like, oh wait, it's a comic book based thing.
Yeah.
And then I read through a bunch of those because damn, that's a good premise.
Yeah. I hear really good things about the comic book series, and I don't know, people love that game, so that's cool.
And that game is fucking dark,
Well, oh yeah. That game is all about
literally and metaphorically.
yeah, like a lot of social vices, a lot of social commentary in that game.
And you can just like at the end of the first season, like toward the end, like the last episode, where it's like, here's
Ghost places.
this game. The first episode came out like what, 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Fuck it. One of the Tweedledee and Tweedledum guys is like shooting you point blank with a fucking shotgun, and then it gives you the option to fucking kill him, and you fucking tear his guts out like immediately. I was not expecting that, but I did it because I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's going down. And I didn't care how the game took care of it, but I was not expecting that.
Yeah, most of the characters in that game are not good people. So you have to make some really rough decisions about whether or not you're going to just off them or whether or not you're going to see where they get you in the story. Because
he was a kind of a side guy anyway.
Yeah.
He's a thug. That's all I knew. I was like, I don't really care. It'll make the other one more interesting because now he's got a vendetta.
Okay. Let's talk about the Pokemon Go Fest then.
All right.
So the refunds are being offered as Pokemon Go
That should say
Fest
everything.
is beset by glitches. Is the title of this news story. So a lot of bad things. So I didn't even know Pokemon Go was having a fest to begin with until it started going real bad.
You had to pay $20 to get into this thing too.
I mean, to be fair, even for a one-day event, a $20 official fee for getting into any sort of like real-ass
That's not that
sponsored
bad.
event
It's pretty
is
cheap,
super
yeah.
low. Yeah.
$20 for a whole day?
Yeah.
Maybe they should have charged more.
Yeah. At least I would have.
That's a pretty good price. That's decent.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
went to a fucking
Bad.
concert like last weekend and I got in for $10. It's fucking awesome.
I went to a concert last week. It was $75 to get in.
Shit.
But no. So what was this supposed to be? So this was the festival where they were showing off the legendary Pokemon for the first time.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were having like a whole bunch of events and stuff to unlock the legendary Pokemon and stuff. But they had crazy connectivity issues, and also the latest update they put out for the game in iOS made it crash constantly too.
Oops.
Yeah, oopsie doodle. Like that was totally on their end, and they even said that like during the fest itself too. And they had the saddest suggestions, like, oh, try and go over to the northeast corner of the park and see if you can connect to Wi-Fi. Like, some people have had success doing that, and it's just like when the game first came out. Like, you would think they would anticipate like server issues and cell phone issues and hire more like cell trucks than they actually did. And yeah, everybody had a bad time. People were booing like Niantic's CEO when he showed up, trying to apologize and say like, we're aware of the issues, we're trying to work on it.
To be fair, when they initially booed him, that was just like the introduction. That wasn't him trying to like immediately.
Well, like right after he was like, hey, I'm here and we're aware of issues on the game, and people were still fucking pissed. Like, I had a live stream going of like they had an official live stream for the whole day, but most of it ended up being
That is
pre-recorded
now
footage.
all on the internet.
Yeah, because
So
everybody's so mad.
great.
Candidate for live stream of the year this year.
Great.
I think.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
Remember that Sonic stream from
Man.
Comic-Con last year?
Yeah.
They got it beat. They have it beat. I love that there was a chant, the we can't play chants.
We
pretty
can't
good.
play. We can't play. And then they were like, whoa, we'll just go do this thing on the game. And then one guy in the back's like, we fucking can't.
Somebody whipped a water bottle at the presenter on
I
stage
saw that
at one
too,
point. And it was like, made me think of Tila Tequila at like the Juggalo gathering or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
One fan tweeted, "This is the worst time I've ever had doing anything." Come on.
Like, there were lines around the block to get in. People like had to wait more than half a day and like missed a few of like the event things going on, like these challenges to unlock the legendary. But like by the end of the day, they were like, well, if you registered this QR code for the fest, we will give you a legendary in your account, which is good because they are apparently impossible to catch right now. Like Articuno, because Team Mystic won. Articuno was the first legendary along with Lugia to come out, and they have like a 2% catch rate, and yeah, they're fucking impossible apparently. And it just sounds like a poop show all around. They also were going to give $100 worth of Poke Coins to everybody that registered too. So they did get a few cheers instead of people yelling swears or whatever after that. But man, it sounds like it was a not great situation for everybody involved. Like, I had the live stream going all day yesterday, and there was one point where a YouTuber was interviewing another YouTuber on the stream, and the guy happened to say, like, as part of his like talk, well, it's been a great success, and they had like this live stream going out on loudspeakers throughout the park. And as soon as that dude said great success, I heard like a whole bunch of people going boo, boo. And he corrected himself and he's like, great success for me personally. And I just felt so bad for everybody. Like, I mean, imagine traveling like out of state to go to this thing, and you would have had a better time just like staying at home and going to the zoo or something and doing this Pokemon stuff on your own. It's bad. Like, I feel bad for them. But how did they not know? How did they not know that everything was going to break? Like,
You go to a Pokemon Go Fest, you're kind of biting it off already. You're kind of making a bad choice to begin with. So, I don't know. Can't feel too bad for them. Come on now.
I don't know. I feel like something like that, 90% of it is going to have to be making your own fun, because, man, you can't rely on the people. You can't rely on the showrunners to do anything for you.
But like, why didn't they set up their own Wi-Fi or something like that? Just, I don't know. Like, they have big sporting events and they bring in like special cellular trucks. Like, why didn't they do more of this? Like, you sell a set amount of tickets, you would think you would anticipate that kind of load on the networks and do what you can to not have that happen. So I don't know. It's just weird.
It's probably one of those things where they probably, I mean, this is probably the first time they've run something like this, and not having that experience, it's often difficult. Like, I would imagine you learn a lot after doing this one time and going like, okay, we're never gonna make that mistake again. So maybe it's just like, hey, they didn't know beforehand. They just didn't. Nobody was like, hey, we really need more of these trucks if there's going to be 20,000 people here.
I mean, I get why you'd say that, but at the same time, this is not their first foray into, cellular gaming. They need to know better than that. Like, if anything, you need to plan for having more than people show up. Then,
I mean, yeah.
Like, you can't go by status quo. You have to assume that you're going to get the maximum. And then if you don't, whatever. If you do, then you're in good money. But yeah, I don't know. They're silly. And it's a silly company.
They eventually extended out like all of the challenge stuff to like a 2-mile radius extra from just the park, so you didn't have to stay in the park. But I also read like it took at least 20 minutes to exit the park too. And the park was very small, didn't have enough room for all these people. It just, I don't know. What kind of planning did they do for this? Not enough, I guess.
Not enough. I mean, it's weird. Like, you'd think this is the game that has caused people to get trampled to death. You'd think they would, put a little bit more thought into a gathering of people with that similar mindset.
True, yeah. You would think they would know better.
Yeah. Gathering of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
There will actually way more people dressed in clown makeup than you would expect. The gathering of the Pokemon.
Lots of Mr. Mime cosplayers.
I'm glad you got that, because I thought it went over for a second there, and I was like, bummer.
Oh, goodness.
You were way out in that. You were way out in back of the field. You caught that shit.
Yep, I caught it. I was out in the outfield and caught it. Mr. Mime. Also, like, there's a Pokemon that's just a clown, man. So like, I don't know. What's up with that, by the way? What's up with Mr. Mon?
Pokemon's weird, man. Remember Jinx? That's a weird thing that they want people to forget about as soon as possible.
Or the trash Pokemon that is just
that is just a literal pile of trash.
Rubbish shit.
Yeah.
It's trash and rubbish, and it's just like a trash can.
I don't understand Pokemon anymore. It's gotten too big. There's too many now.
It's like 500, if that. I don't know.
Apparently, people still want to play Pokemon Go. Is the big news story for this, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I saw the thing about battles. So they never had battles before this thing, right?
I'm pretty sure it did.
It had gym battles, but
yeah, but like that's like where you go and you fight the gym.
Right.
But it didn't
Yeah.
have like one-on-ones like this one does.
No,
right?
like these. No, they're not one-on-ones. These legendary things are raid battles in the game. Like you have to actually use Poke Coins to buy a raid pass, and then you
I'm
get
sorry, what?
put in like the multiplayer
Hey, what?
battle thing. Yeah, you have to pay money to access these legendaries, and that's another reason why people are so pissed that they can't catch them, because you have to pay to do it.
That's not the part that I'm freaking out about. It has raids?
Well, that's what they're calling them, but it's just a multiplayer battle thing. I don't know why they
Yeah.
call them raids, but yeah.
Raid. Gotta
That's
bring
weird.
down
It sounds
Arthas,
cool.
Yeah.
the Lich King versus Mr. Mime. The battle we get to see. Goodness.
Get all the whales excited when you say raids, even if it's not really a raid.
Yep. It's the new beta.
True.
Yeah.
Breaking news:
Uh-huh.
Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets apparently bombed super hard. 17 million this weekend on a $180 million budget.
Well, it's like a French comic. Like, why did they... Yeah.
And they cut all the good parts out of the French comic, right? Like, they
Yeah.
made it super
So I
not
saw that
good.
movie. I saw that movie last night, and like visually, it's intense and like super good and super interesting. But it has some of the worst acting that I've ever seen in a movie ever. Like,
Sounds like Jupiter Ascending.
yeah, it is a similar. It's a similar thing. Like the main character, it is a Kirsten Stewart level of not being able to act. Like it's real bad.
Wow.
That number caught me by surprise. So yeah, that's the Bomba of the year. It looks like.
Yeah, well, that's it's terrible. It's terrible. It's a
See
lot,
that?
a
I
lot
like
of
that.
money.
I liked most
Parts
of
of that movie. Yeah.
Protect them at all costs.
Movies. I think that's all the news. I mean, I guess we could mention briefly that Arc Systems visited Riot Games at some point, but I guess we already mentioned that in the Evo thing. Probably gonna get a League of Legends character in something.
Well, I think it's more. So it's kind of complicated. So Seth Killian, who used to work for Capcom, left and made his own studio with a couple other people, and they made Rising Thunder, which is a very, very easy to play fighting game. But then that company was bought by Riot Games,
Radiant
and that
Entertainment.
Yeah, Radiant Entertainment. Yeah. But then that game was shelved and Radiant was bought, and they have been silent since then. So the likelihood is that they are creating a fighting game for League of Legends. And I would assume that if ASW is there, they are either taking over or they are getting assistance on how to make 3D models look like Zerd. And they are probably going to publish that game in Japan when it comes out, which may be never, because it's been a couple years since they got bought. So who knows? It's everybody's looking at Rising Thunder and being like, "Oh, it's back! It's back!" It's not back, but it'll be something different.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be cool. League of Legends has a lot of characters,
Yeah, it has a lot of characters. Yeah.
but it's probably too many. But who knows?
So is Smite also Riot Games?
No, that's whatever they're called. They made. Oh goodness, they made that game where you get
High res.
High res. There you go.
They eat my ass.
So Hi-Rez is owned by Tencent, right?
Ooh, that's a good.
Probably.
question.
All I know is they can't support video games.
Well, yeah. That's I remember people getting so mad about the servers being down when it was time to do placement matches in Smite. That is literally the only exposure I have to Smite.
All I know is it's what took all the good developers off of Tribes. And then Tribes basically lost all of its support because they were like, let's go chase the Dota money.
Wow.
Like they even lifted the fucking UI wholesale off of Tribes for Smite,
No, I don't doubt it.
which is funny.
And then they made that Paladins game too, right? And that did fairly well.
Is that Hi-Rez? I thought that was
That's
Epic.
that's high res.
City of Heroes.
Also,
Save
yeah.
heroes.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Oh, that's the one that's that's the one that's like Overwatch. Right. Okay.
Also, they're privately owned. Like,
Yeah, they're not
So-
owned by Tencent, but
Yeah.
Riot is owned by Tencent. Because money in League of Legends, right?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. It could be cool to have a League of Legends fighting game. I guess there's 1,000 fighting games coming out, so one more ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Our intel
Well, one
suggests
more.
that our person
So a
of
League of
interest
Legends
is
fighting
in the
game that
vicinity.
is
Search
that
for the
is
hostage
not
and bring
reliant
them
on
home.
execution is
Watch out.
very
I'm
interesting
detecting void
because
fissures nearby.
it means that
They
people
have
who
a
like League
magic
of
relic.
Legends but wouldn't necessarily be
You're
able to
still in
jump
the
into a
clear.
fighting game
No
immediately
detection from enemy
now
sensors.
have a player base that they can do very well at without having to learn a lot of stuff.
They should probably just get good if they're playing League. They should know how to get good.
Well, it's a different skill set. Like, a lot of people just can't wrap their heads around it. Like, I can't wrap my heads around Dota in the same way that a lot of people can't wrap their heads around, like, Zerd with all of its bursts and Roman cancels and purple Roman cancels and green Roman cancels and just guards and this and that and the other thing.
Mango
Like, if they-
Sentinels.
Mango storms.
What? That's not
It-
real, is it? Please
It
tell me.
is. We're never gonna get Mango Storm and Mango Sentinel are gone forever. Rest in pieces. R.I.P. in pieces.
Wow, that does sound complex. Maybe that's why I can never get into fighting games. Is I didn't know about the Mango Storm.
I mean, no, fighting games are as complex as you want to learn about them. So if they make a fighting game that is just like very surface level, a combo is 3 or 4 buttons, then yeah, they could totally like get something that people would really be into if you're really into the characters of League of Legends.
I think
it all
that makes
depends.
sense for Riot in some ways. Like I feel like they've always been looking at Blizzard and competing with them a little bit. So like them trying to make how Blizzard kind of makes your first MOBA with HOTS or like really simplified version of a game. I mean, like Riot going like we're gonna make a really simplified version of a fighting game, make it really slick and really polished, and there you go.
Yep. And then we'll slowly add on to it over time. Yeah, totally. Oh, let me talk about one more thing about Evo, because this is actually really funny. So, like I said, Disney and ESPN showed the Evo Grand Finals. One of the Grand Finalists is a Cammy user, and he did one round with Cammy, or one match with Cammy, and won or lost, doesn't really matter, but then was asked by ESPN to change costumes to something less provocative. Though he changed into like Cammy's little black dress outfit, which brought up the conversation of if the FGC wants to be more mainstream, they need to go about making it so their default costumes are not embarrassing. And
to where they don't show full cheeks. Like,
yeah,
Barbie.
exactly. Yeah, well, like all of them really, but
yeah.
It got to this whole thing where it was a conversation I was in, and while I don't necessarily agree, people often forget that a lot of the Dota heroes and the League of Legends heroes are just as sexy, but because of the camera angles being so high up, most people don't even tell, or most people don't even like register it that way. Like they had to be reminded that there's a girl that has a blizzard, like an ice bikini, and there's like that one girl from League of Legends who is just in like tiger print bikini, and that's literally it. But like in their minds, they didn't even register them as being sexy outfits because they are literally never seen. So if this League of Legends fighting game comes up, people are really going to get like kind of shook about the character designs in those games because they are a little more right now in the games that they belong to than like poster art.
Well, it depends on how the camera works. Like for supers, if they zoom in on the ass like they do for Street Fighter, then it might be more of an issue.
And I bet they will. Like, there's no way that they're gonna make a game like that doesn't have like a super cinematic camera for like ultras and specials and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that people are going to have to come to terms with because a lot of people aren't even seeing a lot of these characters as being like sexy in nature.
Yeah, that's. I don't know.
I don't know. These League of Legends skins, I think that's why they sell them in the first
Mm.
place.
Oh, it
Oh,
absolutely
100%.
Yeah,
is.
100%. Yeah.
And the same thing for the fighting games, but like it's weird. When we see companies like NetherRealm stepping away from these super sexy like
This is a rescue
costumes,
mission.
like from Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat 10, they
Any harm
like
comes to them.
scaled back the sexiness
There
a
are
lot.
void fissures in the
But then the Japanese companies seem to be like doubling down on it like super hard with the DOA 4 or sorry DOA 5 DLC being like battle damaged outfits and bikinis and all that, and putting a very high price tag on them and making money off of them.
Well, it's like different markets. Like that's more of a selling point over there than it is over here. Like here, that limits your market, or at least that's like the general thought. And over there, it's like, oh, you're making a visual novel without porn scenes? Like, why?
Right. Yeah, and I think there's and that's the thing. I don't really think it's limiting the market so much as it's culling perception of what it is, because people will be so eager to jump in front of something and say this is sexist, this is misogynistic, or something like that.
It's more like the ratings, and it really depends by company to company, like how they handle that. I would say, like,
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know.
It is, yeah. The PR teams have to, if you're going to do that, your PR team has to be, on point, because you are going to have to explain some of this stuff. But at the same time, when it comes down to the people who like refuse to buy a game because of the skins that are in it, I would bet that it is very small. When like the amount of people that refuse to is like very small compared to the people that just want the good game that might have a sexy thing in it. Like, it's cool when you can do something like, or you can do something with it, like a Lollipop Chainsaw, which uses the sexuality as like kind of a funny commentary on how people perceive sexual relations in America, especially. But at the same time, a lot of times the problem that Street Fighter V has right now is that the art design in it is either from 30 years ago or is terrible. There is no in between. Those are your two options.
But
They
it's weird nowadays. Like, it doesn't necessarily, all the sexy shit doesn't necessarily have to be fully in the game anymore. Like, I'm just thinking of Overwatch, and like, sure, you have like Widowmaker's shiny metal ass or whatever, but most of the porny shit is made by fans outside of the game. So I don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to be 100% in the game anyway.
Yeah.
And then that stuff with Overwatch is kind of embraced by Blizzard in a weird way. So it's like, I don't know, kind of.
I remember they were
In a
like,
weird
we're gonna
way.
take down all this SMW porn or SMF porn of the Overwatch people, and
SMM.
everybody just said, good luck. You're never doing that. Yeah, it's weird, because like the Overwatch stuff is an interesting thing, because it's like, you're right, like they don't have to put that stuff in there, but at the same time, the people that are like making like genuine, like actual, like fan servicey stuff on the side for like the Overwatch stuff doesn't necessarily, like, those are people that if they did decide to do like a bikini swap tomorrow, they wouldn't be like, well, that's it, this game is over. There's definitely still a fan base there that doesn't necessarily care about the perception of the ultra sexy nature of some of the stuff. I would say the best thing I could say is like, there probably isn't enough of an overlap of the people that don't care and the people that are super into it and will endorse it and like drive the community forward in order to justify having a lot of like super sexy stuff in any game. But that's not to say that there isn't a demographic there that isn't necessarily like a big despot or a big pot of degenerates, like a lot of these people think. Like where ESPN says, no, you need to change this because it's too sexy for our ratings. That's strange.
TV's lame. TV's
Yeah.
shitty.
Yeah.
But
That's true too.
ESPN
We gotta
will
paint swimsuits on these Tenchi Muyo characters right now.
Oh man,
It's cool though. You
forgot
can have
about that.
terrorists and counter-terrorists shooting at each other
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
TV.
And I mean, heck, you'll show cheerleaders though. You'll show the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Well, not even that. It's like you'll show a triathlon where women are wearing even skimpier things as athletic equipment. You know, it's
Yeah.
this weird thing where the argument of trying to be, let's say, safe for work, makes you or leads people to make really interesting and complex and oftentimes dumb decisions. But it is what it is. So there's a lot of people out there who just see it as lol video games, and that makes their decisions a lot more knee jerk. So
That's true.
but that's all I had. I thought that was funny.
Closing all video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LOL video games.
Although it was funny to see what's his name, Zero, who was the champion Smash player, yell "fuck yeah" on Teen Disney.
Yeah.
A great time for all involved. That's
Yes.
Evo 2017.
Yep.
I guess that's it. Yeah. I think that's a podcast, folks.
Sweet.
I've been your host, Albie. I hope you've all had a good time. I hope you have a good week. You send us emails, rumsbag@gmail.com. We're on Twitch, YouTube. We're at Twitter, @rumsbag. If you hit us up, we're all here.
We're on
Review
the
our
internet.
podcast. Review our podcast on platforms.
iTunes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Thumb us
Is
up
it-
on iTunes or whatever they do.
It's on iTunes.
Is that still working after I had to put the new site up?
Maybe.
Because the
It
URL
should.
should be the
Play.
same
Let's
still.
see.
Yeah, it should.
Still works on my podcast app, so yeah.
There are void fissures in the area.
Yeah, fuck Cloud.cost, by the way.
Yes. Work with new site maybe. Oh no.
I switched over to Vulture. Shout out to Vulture. It was super easy to set up, and it was like super cheap.
Nice.
Use it to crack open a relic.
Shout outs to Vulture.
Here is
Shout
a
outs to
terminal.
Vulture.
Get me
And that's been a podcast, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all had
Reactant is
fun.
working on your relic.
Let's watch this
Find more.
Punjabi.
Yes.
Fuck
Prison
yeah,
match.
dude! Perfect
So
timing. Let's
hyped
do
for
this
this.
shit.
Let's watch some death match and a Punjabi
Nobody
thing,
knows you're
something. Yeah.
WWE
Nope.
stop being so racist.
I'm in, Tenno.
Yo, real talk. I like Jinder Mahal a lot, but Jesus Christ.
True.
Are we out?
Somebody has to say something funny.
Something funny.